Chapter 732. Go to NI family_3. Solution is there. Zheng Sheng said. Why can't it be solved? The Zheng Corporation is such a large group, there must be so many vacant positions. Sister-in-law, you might as well give Minghui a chance to serve as general manager. Zheng Gao said. What about our Mingming? He's a 3-time graduate. If Minghui can be made general manager, our Mingming should at least be a deputy general manager, right? Upon hearing this, Zheng Lingling's face was filled with a mocking expression. General manager? Vice general manager? These two old fools really dared to speak. Zheng Minghui and Zheng Mingming are just two idlers, even more wieldless than Mo Qishan. Elderly Mrs. Zheng looked at Zheng Gao and Zheng Sheng, twisted the Buddha beads in her hands, her voice neither loud nor soft. The positions of general manager and deputy general manager are too small. Why not let them be the chairman? Hearing this, Zheng Sheng and Zheng Gao were overwhelmed with disbelief. Could they have misheard? Zheng Sheng smiled and said, Sister-in-law, this is too embarrassing. If you intend to vacate the position of chairman, then we can't help but thank you. You can rest assured if you hand the Zheng Corporation over to our Minghui. As soon as these words were spoken, Zheng Gao immediately became displeased. Why should the position of chairman be Minghui's? What about our Mingming? The Zheng Corporation is not yours. I won't agree to let Minghui be the chairman. On what grounds are you refusing? Our Minghui is the eldest son and grandson of old Zheng's family. He should be the chairman, without a doubt. Eldest son and grandson? You must really think we're still in a feudal society? There's no such thing as a hereditary system now. I say, the position of chairman should be our Mingming's. Can your Minghui match our Mingming? The two older brothers quarreled incessantly. Enough! Madame Zheng banged the Buddha beads on the table violently. Shut up, all of you. The air turned quiet instantly. It was as if someone had pressed pause. You're all behaving atrociously. Mrs. Zheng's face was cold. Don't you weigh your own worth, and yet you fancy the position of chairman? Hearing this, Zheng Sheng and Zheng Gao's faces alternated between green and white. Zheng Sheng felt wronged and said, Sister-in-law, you're being unfair. It was you who said you were going to vacate the position of chairman. Zheng Gao echoed on the side. Exactly. As the saying goes, eldest brother is like a father, and his wife is like a mother. Zheng Sheng and Zheng Gao were somewhat wary of their elder sister-in-law. Old Madame Zheng continued, there are 2 team leader positions open in the security department. Let Minghui and Mingming go apply. Security team leader? It sounds like a prestigious title. Thank you, sister-in-law. Zheng Gao thanked her with a smile. We are all family. I knew that you would never let us down. Zheng Sheng pondered. Security department? Isn't the security department security? Job title. Security is a new concept at this time, and many are still uncertain about it. It's security. Mrs. Zheng nodded. Upon hearing this, Zheng Sheng was not pleased. Security guard? Isn't that just a gatekeeper? How can we let Minghui become a gatekeeper? Although it's a family business, sister-in-law, you should at least give Minghui a position. Zheng Gao was also unhappy. Sister-in-law, Mingming is after all your biological nephew. How can you stand to let him guard the door? What? Do you two also look down upon the position of security team leader? Mrs. Zheng laughed and asked. Sister-in-law, we're all family here. There's no need for this, is there? Exactly. Zheng Corporation has so many cushy jobs. You'd rather give them to outsiders than keep them for your own nephews. Sister-in-law, that's questionable. Madame Zheng picked up her teacup. Precisely because Minghui and Mingming are my nephews, I want to give them the chance to serve as team leaders. If Mingming were an outsider, he wouldn't even qualify to step into the Zheng Corporation. The last sentence was not spoken loudly, but it turned Zheng Sheng and Zheng Jun pale. Sister-in-law, Madame Zheng continued, do you two have other things to say? If not, I want to rest. Yes, we do. Zheng Gao nodded hastily. Say it. Mrs. Zheng was succinct. Zheng Gao looked troubled as he glanced at Zheng Lingling and the other servants. Madame Zheng, a very intelligent woman, instantly understood his meaning. She looked at Zheng Lingling. Lingling, lead them out for now. Source, web novel. Com. Updated on InvGo. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 733. Go to Anai family_4. Alright, Mom. Zheng Lingling nodded. In an instant, all the servants in the room had left. Go ahead, what's on your mind? The old lady of the Zheng family continued. Zheng Gao nudged Zheng Sheng with his elbow. Zheng Sheng hesitated for a moment before speaking. Sis-in-law, I've heard that your and my brother's health have been poor recently. The old lady of the Zheng family spun her Buddha beads in silence. Zheng Sheng continued. Sis-in-law, as the saying goes, we can't deny aging. As one gets older, all bodily functions begin to weaken, stop working, and none could predict which comes first, tomorrow or an accident. Therefore, it's necessary to prepare in advance. At this point, Zheng Gao immediately lowered his voice and added, Don't blame me for being blunt as a younger brother, sis-in-law. Lingling is not your biological daughter after all. It's a common saying that one doesn't let one's riches benefit others. If there were to be any accidents, we can't simply let outsiders benefit, right? You still have Mingming and Minghui, who are capable of holding up the family. Zheng Lingling was just an outsider. She didn't have the right to inherit the property of the Zheng family. The old lady of the Zheng family's biological daughter had died long ago, so the heirs to the family property should be Zheng Mingming and Zheng Minghui. The old lady of the Zheng family sneered. Beating around the bush, you seem to be hoping for my early death. Not at all, sis-in-law. You misunderstood. We didn't mean that. Zheng Sheng hurriedly explained. Zheng Gao continued. Sis-in-law, we just want to remind you, don't let outsiders benefit. Outsiders are still outsiders, and they will never fully belong. Exactly. The second brother is right, Zheng Sheng said. Chao Lingrua's surname is Chao. Even if it's changed now, she still has Chao as her surname. She has Chao family's blood in her veins. Chao Lingrue was Zheng Lingling's former name. Rest assured, even if I really have an accident and die, the Zheng family will not be taken advantage of. The old lady of the Zheng family spoke frankly. Zheng Sheng and Zheng Gao appeared uncomfortable. Who talks like that? Shed really killed the conversation. You may leave. The old lady of the Zheng family stood from the sofa. I'm tired. As she finished speaking, she left Zheng Sheng and Zheng Gao behind. Zheng Sheng and Zheng Gao exchanged glances, both seeing disappointment in each other's eyes. The old lady of the Zheng family went to the study room upstairs, letting out a tired sigh. Aching. The old master, carrying a watering can, walked over from the balcony. Did you go out today? The old lady of the Zheng family asked. Yes, the old master nodded. Aching, I have something to discuss with you. At that moment, Zheng Lingling knocked on the door of the study room. Mom, Auntie Jiang is here. The old master glanced at the doctor and then said, Then I'll talk to you later. As he finished speaking, he headed towards the balcony. The balcony was filled with his favorite plants. Though it's winter, the red plum blossoms were exceptionally brilliant. The old lady of the Zheng family got up to welcome Dr. Jiang. Xiaoyan is here. Aching. Dr. Jiang put down her medical case and looked down the stairs in a low voice. I just saw Zheng Sheng and Zheng Gao downstairs. They seemed a bit upset. The old lady of the Zheng family casually said, Don't mind them. Dr. Jiang continued. Those two are amusing. They were eager to ask about your and Zheng Jun's health conditions when they saw me coming in. When I told them you were fine, they seemed quite disappointed. Zheng Lingling seized this opportunity to sow discord. Mom, if you ask me, we shouldn't let those two men casually enter our house anymore. They are just eyeing our property. The old lady of the Zheng family looked at Zheng Lingling. You, as a junior, has no place to interrupt. Even if Zheng Sheng and Zheng Gao were overstepping, they were the elders. Zheng Lingling shut her mouth abruptly. Dr. Jiang laughed and said, Don't blame Lingling for being blunt. Those two men really have gone too far. Even I, as an outsider, find it hard to watch. The old lady of the Zheng family responded. Zheng Sheng and Zheng Gao are indeed a bit greedy, but it's not unforgivable. Dr. Jiang nodded and didn't continue the topic. Anyway, Aching, how have you been feeling recently? Any discomfort? Same as before. The old lady of the Zheng family replied. Oh, after the examination, Dr. Jiang repeated her usual advice. Aching, there are no major problems with your health. Just make sure to take your medication on time, and take care of yourself. Okay. The old lady of the Zheng family nodded. Zhengjun hasn't been feeling too well lately. Lingling, go get your dad and let Auntie Jiang have a look at him. Source web novel. Com, updated on Envgo. Co if you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 734. Go to ni_family_5. Alright. Zheng Lingling walked towards the door. After a while, Zheng Lingling came back alone. Madame Zheng asked in surprise, Lingling, where's your father? Zheng Lingling said, my father said he's fine, he doesn't need to see the doctor. Madame Zheng shook her head helplessly. After all these years he's still stubborn like a child. How can he not see a doctor when he's not feeling well? I'll go call him myself. Madame Zheng then walked out the door. Only Dr. Jiang and Zheng Lingling were left in the study room. Dr. Jiang said, Lingling, I heard about your father being unwell before. Isn't he better now? No. Zheng Lingling shook her head. Dr. Jiang took a sip of tea. Did you give your father the medicine I gave you last time? Zheng Lingling laughed and said, my father is odd, he's reluctant to take medicine, so I put the medicine in the ginseng soup. I'm not sure if the ginseng will affect the medicine's efficacy. Over the years, the old Mr. Zheng hasn't had any serious illnesses, nor has he seen a doctor. Even when it comes to Dr. Jiang, who is good friends with Madame Zheng, he is reluctant to let her examine him. He's quite particular. Dr. Jiang laughed and said, you're such a filial child. Don't worry, ginseng is good, it won't affect the efficacy of the medicine. Alright, then I'll still use ginseng in the future. Dr. Jiang nodded. Zheng Lingling glanced out the window, then continued. Last time my mother couldn't find Tingting. I don't know if there's any news now, it's so worrying. Speaking of this, Zheng Lingling sighed and said, I just don't know how my poor little sister Tingting is doing now. These things can't be rushed. Dr. Jiang said, what is destined to be will eventually be, and what isn't can't be forced. Your mother has waited for over 30 years, what's another day? Zheng Lingling sighed again. I'm afraid my father and mother won't be able to hold up after all they. Dr. Jiang patted Zheng Lingling's hand. Don't worry. After a while, Madame Zheng came back, somewhat helplessly said, he's as stubborn as a mule, I can't do anything about him. Dr. Jiang laughed and said, this is how Zhengjun was when he was young, I'm used to it. I just came in and saw he looked pretty well. There should be no major health problems, you don't need to worry. As a doctor, these words from Dr. Jiang reassured Madame Zheng. Taking into account that the two old sisters had a lot to talk about, Zheng Lingling tactfully left the study and closed the door. Dr. Jiang and Madame Zheng chatted a bit about irrelevant things. Then Dr. Jiang asked, Aching, are you still looking for Tingting? Madame Zheng shook her head. Since Dr. Wang gave me the appraisal result last time, I've had no hope for this matter. I won't look for her anymore, never again. Although Dr. Jiang is the person Madame Zheng trusts the most, she can't tell Dr. Jiang the truth about this matter. It's a secret between her and old Mr. Zheng. Moreover, if one more person knew about this matter, the risk would increase. Tingting is your flesh and blood. How can you not look for her? Dr. Jiang said, I feel that Dr. Wang is a bit careless. Actually, Dr. Xiaoran is not bad. You can look for Dr. Xiaoran. Madame Zheng shook her head again. I think Dr. Xiaoran is young, although I have some friendship with her mother, I don't trust her. Dr. Jiang nodded. You're right. Xiaoran is indeed too young. So, you won't look for her anymore. Dr. Jiang continued. Although Lingling is more filial than a biological daughter, she is not a blood relative of the Zheng family after all. In my opinion, Zheng Sheng and Zheng Gao had a point. One cannot live forever. You can't let the vast Zheng family fortune go to outsiders after you pass away. Madame Zheng looked at Dr. Jiang. Xiaoyan, are you also taking their side now? Are you a spokesman that they've hired? Dr. Jiang laughed. Aching, how could you think that way? Madame Zheng continued. Since that's not the case, don't bring them up again. Zheng Jun and I are old now. We just want to live our last years in peace. We don't want to fuss about it anymore. Saying this, Madame Zheng continued, besides, Lingling is a good child. She's been filial to us for so many years in the Zheng family, and has also given us a smart and clever granddaughter. We're already content. Source, web novel. Com, updated on Envgo. Co. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 735. Go to ni family_6. Dr. Jiang nodded. True, contentment breeds happiness. After some more chatting with old lady Zheng, Dr. Jiang left the Zheng family. Zheng Lingling saw Dr. Jiang to the door. Please watch your step. Dr. Jiang nodded. I will. Also, according to your mother, she seems to have given up finding Tingting. If you have a chance, try to persuade her. Blood is thicker than water after all. She should still try to look for her. Upon hearing this, Zheng Lingling's face was filled with disbelief. Not looking for her? That old witch really gave up? She just gave up on her own daughter? Zheng Lingling narrowed her eyes. All right, I will try to persuade my mother. Thank you for today. You're welcome. The study room upstairs in the Zheng's home. When Dr. Jiang had just left, Master Zheng came in. Aching, I met a girl today with excellent medical skills. Your health keeps deteriorating. Let's have her take a look. Old lady Zheng laughed. Look who's talking. I wonder who the one refusing medical treatment is. Master Zheng had nothing to say. Old lady Zheng added. Xiaoyan says my health is fine. There's no need to call another doctor, right? I think she's a quack. She always says you're fine, but your constant coughing proves otherwise. Master Zheng furrowed his brow. Old lady Zheng laughed. It's just a bit of coughing. No need to overreact. As soon as she finished, old lady Zheng started coughing violently. Are you all right? Master Zheng quickly patted old lady Zheng's back. Don't worry, it's not going to kill me, old lady Zheng reassured, waving her hand. Master Zheng's face fell. Don't talk about dying. Old lady looked at him in surprise. Master Zheng continued. Until we find Tingting, we all have to stay well. Nobody can talk about death. He wants to meet his daughter alive. Old lady Zheng laughed. All right, we won't talk about it. Master Zheng insisted. Aching, seriously, you should let that girl examine you. Old lady Zheng replied. Xiaoyan has been taking care of my illness all along. If suddenly another doctor comes in, how will Xiaoyan feel? Not to mention her long-standing friendship with Dr. Jiang. Master Zheng considered, then continued. How about this? Well, go to that girl's house directly, so she can check on me too. Well, keep it a secret, not telling anyone. That could work. Old lady Zheng nodded. As long as it doesn't embarrass Dr. Jiang. Let's go tomorrow then, Master Zheng added. All right, well, go with your plan. The two old people chatted some more, and just then, there was a knock on the door. Zheng Xianjing walked in with 2 bowls of ginseng soup. Grandpa, Grandma, it's time for your soup. Okay. Old lady Zheng nodded cheerfully. Master Zheng took a bowl, drank it all, and walked out without a word. He wasn't particularly close to Zheng Xianjing, but he wasn't indifferent to her either. He simply had nothing to say. Unlike other families, grandparents and grandchildren always have lots of things to talk about. Master Zheng could go a whole year without exchanging a word with Zheng Xianjing and Zheng Lingling. Zheng Xianjing watched Master Zheng's retreating figure with a flash of resentment in her eyes. She's always been kind to Master Zheng, but he never treated her like his own granddaughter. He only cared about his own daughter. It was surprising how dutiful and respectful Zheng Lingling was, making ginseng soup for them every day. What a waste of filial piety. Xianjing, when did you get back? Old lady Zheng asked. School had started by now, and Zheng Xianjing was normally in the dorm. Zheng Xianjing smiled. I just got back, Grandma. The school canteen is terrible, making you lose weight. Let Chef Lu make you something delicious tonight to replenish yourself, suggested old lady Zheng. But old lady Zheng didn't truly care about her. If she really cared, she wouldn't have Chef Lu make the food. She would do it herself. As a grandmother, old lady Zheng never even made her a bowl of porridge, let alone anything else. Was it just because her mother wasn't her biological daughter? How ironic. Zheng Xianjing cursed old lady Zheng hundreds of times in her mind, but her face remained smiling. Grandma, I'm not skinny at all. Besides, these days people in Western countries don't favor being overweight. It's better to be slim. Zhao family. Old lady Zhao chatted at length with Shangguan Furong. At that moment, a servant came to knock at the door. Old lady, the people from the nursing home are here. So soon? Old lady Zhao was a little surprised. Then she looked at Shangguan Furong and said, Furong, the people from the nursing home are here. Can you please help me check? I've already paid them. What are the people from the nursing home here for? Shangguan Furong was curious. They're here to pick up old lady Chang. Old lady Zhao replied. Hearing this, Shangguan Furong was even more puzzled. Old lady Zhao sighed. Speaking of old lady Chang, she is Lin Fang's former mother-in-law, also a pitiable woman. Her only son died in a car accident, leaving her paralyzed and alone. She previously suffered a lot under Lin Fang's hands. Now that she's lost all her ability to work, I found a nursing home for her to live in. When Lin Fang married into the family, she brought old lady Chang with her. Old lady Chang was now taken care of by Zhao family's servants. Now that Lin Fang was in prison and old lady Chang was bedridden, they couldn't just abandon her. That would be an atrocious act. Shangguan Furong remembered that indeed, Lin Fang had a bedridden mother-in-law. She nodded. Okay, I'll go check. Wait, Furong. Old lady Zhao seemed to remember something. What's up? Shangguan Furong turned back. Old lady Zhao continued. Can you ask the people from the nursing home to come back later? In a few days, Yang Yang will come to follow up with my condition. We can ask her to examine old lady Chang as well. Now that old lady Chang can't talk or move, it's really pitiful. Old lady has also experienced similar desperation. All right, Shangguan Furong nodded. The next day was Monday. At around 10 in the morning, Master Zheng and old lady Zheng arrived at Jinghua village by car. The cement road in Jinghua village was still under construction, so the car could only stop at the entrance of the village. As soon as they got off the car, old lady Zheng exclaimed, The air here is so fresh. Master Zheng took a coat and draped it over old lady Zheng's shoulders. The temperature difference between outdoors and indoors is quite large. Don't catch a cold. Old lady Zheng snuggled into her coat. The Inai family's small courtyard was not hard to find. It wasn't long before the two old people found the main gate. Excuse me, is anyone home? Chirp chirp. A myna bird flew out from the yard, circling in the air. Just then the door opened. Opening the door was Inai Yang. Seeing the visitors, she was surprised and said, Grandma Zheng. Grandpa Zheng? It turns out that these two old people are from the same family. Old lady Zheng was equally surprised. Yang Yang. Source, web novel. Com. Updated on InvGo. Co. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 736. Spoiled grandson maniac _1 Old Master Zheng looked at the two of them, astonished. Aching, so you and Yang Yang, you know each other. Fate really is a marvelous thing. Old Madam Zheng said. Yang Yang is the divine doctor who cured Xiaodai. So that's how it is. Old Master Zheng nodded. Grandpa Zheng, Grandma Zheng, please come in. Inai Yang stepped aside to let the elderly couple in. The courtyard was beautifully designed. Even in winter, it remained vibrant and full of life. Old Master Zheng and Old Madam Zheng looked around with surprise. A little chubby child ran towards them, shouting, Sister! Sister! Inai Yang stretched out her hand and picked up the chubby child. Yun, say hello to Grandpa and Grandma. Little Inai Yun obediently greeted, Grandpa, Grandma. Old Madam Zheng laughed and said, Little Yun has grown so much. The last time I saw her, she was not even able to speak. Before you know it, she is already running around. Old Master Zheng looked at little Inai Yun, somewhat dazed. His eyes were suddenly filled with a tinge of red. He didn't know if it was because he was missing his granddaughter, but he felt that little Inai Yun and Zheng Tingting looked identical when they were young. Can I hold her? Old Master Zheng asked Inai Yang. Sure. Inai Yang nodded. Little Inai Yun was always cautious and usually didn't let strangers hold her. However, today, she was exceptionally happy when old Master Zheng picked her up. Old Madame Zheng looked at old Master Zheng with surprise. She knew that old Master Zheng didn't usually like children. When Zheng Xianjing was little, he never once held her in his arms. Grandpa. Little Anayan reached out to tug at old Master Zheng's beard. Grandpa, what is this? This is a beard. Grandpa, what is that? That is a flower. Grandpa is silly, that is a fafa. Old Madame Zheng almost thought she was hallucinating. Old Master Zheng was too out of character today. As if he was a completely different person. Yang, who is here? Anai Tsuehua and Shangguan Dehui came out of the house. Grandpa Zheng, Grandma Zheng, these are my parents. Anai Yang introduced them. Shangguan Dehui recognized Old Master and Old Madame Zheng. Uncle Zheng, Auntie Zheng. Dehui. The old couple looked at Shangguan Dehui in surprise. They had heard that Shangguan Dehui remarried, but they didn't expect him to have married Anai Yang's mother. You two, please come in and have a seat, Anai Tsuehua said. All right. Old Master Zheng and Old Madame Zheng nodded. After entering the house, Anai Tsuehua and Shangguan Dehui busied themselves with serving tea and refreshments to the elderly couple. Anai Tsuehua said, It's getting late, Dehui, you should go to work now. I can handle things here at home. It was Monday, and Shangguan Dehui had classes in the morning. All right, Shangguan Dehui nodded. I'll say hello to Uncle Zheng and Auntie Zheng before I leave. After greeting Old Master and Old Madame Zheng, Shangguan Dehui left. Old Master Zheng held little Anayan the entire time. Yang, your Grandma Zheng and I have been feeling unwell lately. Especially your Grandma Zheng. She's had a cough for many years and it hasn't gotten any better. Can you examine her first? Anai Yang gave a slight nod and proceeded to feel Old Madame Zheng's pulse. She knitted her eyebrows, her eyes focused, and the crystal lamp reflected a cool light in her eyes, making her look quite striking. After a while, she released Old Madame Zheng's hand and asked, Could I ask what medicine you've been taking lately? Old Madame Zheng thought for a moment then answered, I can't remember the exact names, but generally, they are cough suppressants. It's coddling and amoxicillin, Old Master Zheng answered. Old Madame Zheng looked at Old Master Zheng in surprise. She didn't expect him, who always seemed quietly withdrawn, to remember what medicine she was taking. Anai Yang frowned slightly. Is it just coddling and amoxicillin? Does a tonic count as a medicine? Old Master Zheng asked again. Anai Yang nodded. It does. She also drinks ginseng chicken soup and takes some tonics like cordyceps and deer antler. Old Master Zheng said. Anai Yang continued. Actually, the cough problem of Grandma Zheng isn't serious, but strangely, the medicine she has been taking over the years seems to have no effect on her. I suspect it has something to do with her usual diet. Some foods can counteract each other, not only eliminating the efficacy of the medicine, but producing the opposite effect. Over time, a layer of slow-acting toxins harmful to health can accumulate in the body. Source, web novel. Com, updated on InvGo. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 737. Crazy Grandson Pamperer _2. Yang, are you suggesting that your Granny Zheng has been poisoned? Old Master Zheng asked. Yes. Anai Yang nodded slightly. That's one interpretation. Granny Zheng's cough has been going on for 10 years, though there were times when she got better. It worsened suddenly starting from last year, didn't it? Correct. Granny Zheng nodded. It started from last year. Anai Yang continued. Has there been any change in your diet since last year? Granny Zheng said. Other than 3 meals a day, I drink tonic medicines, the ones your grandfather Zheng just mentioned. Old Master Zhao hurriedly asked. How severe is Granny Zheng's condition now? Anai Yang's expression was somewhat solemn. It's serious but not too severe. However, if the toxins in Granny Zheng's body are not removed in time, there's always the risk it will deteriorate, putting her life at risk. Old Master Zheng turned pale. Yang, do you have a way to detoxify her? Granny Zheng, rest assured, there's always an antidote wherever there is poison. Lucky for us, Granny Zheng came in time. If it were any later, it would have been a tough situation. As she finished her sentence, Yang added, every medicine has its toxicity, so during this period, do not consume those tonic medicines anymore. Very well, we appreciate your help, Yang. Old Master Zheng nodded and sighed in relief. Yang took out a small porcelain bottle and handed it to Granny Zheng. Granny Zheng, first take this detoxification pill. During this time, avoid alcohol, spicy food, raw or cold food. Also, don't continue taking cefdazole and amoxicillin. Okay. Granny Zheng solemnly accepted and memorized Yang's words. After examining Granny Zheng, Yang took Old Master Zheng's pulse. Old Master Zheng's pulse was very steady, but beneath the calmness lay subtle signs of trouble. Damage had been subtly inflicted on all his internal organs. Upon closer examination, one would find that his symptoms were surprisingly similar to Granny Zheng's. If the toxins in Granny Zheng's body resulted from food incompatibility, then what about Old Master Zheng's? How is it that both of them would be poisoned at the same time? Something did not seem quite right here. After a moment, Yang let go of Old Master Zheng's wrist. Grandfather Zheng, have you also been drinking tonic medicines recently? Yes. Old Master Zheng nodded. Recently, Zheng Lingling had been making all sorts of tonic soups for him and Granny Zheng every day. Then who's been making this tonic? My daughter. Old Master Zheng answered. Yang continued, Grandfather Zheng, lately you're having trouble sleeping and experiencing tinnitus and dizziness, right? Yes. Old Master Zheng nodded. You also have a layer of toxin in your body, similar to Granny Zheng's condition. Yang revealed truthfully. Old Master Zheng frowned in realization. Is it because both Granny Zheng and I consumed incompatible foods? After all, they usually had the same meals. That's indeed possible, Yang added. But we can't rule out the possibility of intentional poisoning. Intentional poisoning. Upon hearing these words, both Old Master Zheng and Granny Zheng turned pale. It couldn't possibly be intentional, could it? Granny Zheng said. Who would poison them in the Zheng family? The servants had no grudges against them. They would certainly not poison them. Then there was Lingling. But Lingling was their daughter, raised by them for over 30 years. Despite not being biologically related, they were as close as if they were. Lingling certainly wouldn't poison them. Yang's tone was casual. Human intentions can be hard to discern. Sometimes prevention is necessary. The toxins in both of you seeped into your bodies without your knowledge. Modestly speaking, a less experienced traditional Chinese medicine practitioner or hospital checkup wouldn't detect it. Yang had lived 2 lifetimes. She had seen all sorts of incidents, especially the conspiracies within wealthy families, which were even more exaggerated than the palace dramas in the future. Sometimes human intentions couldn't stand close scrutiny. Continuing, Yang said, However, I'm just raising a warning. Perhaps the toxins in both of you are caused by incompatible foods and are unrelated to intentional actions. After all, she didn't have any evidence yet and couldn't make unfounded accusations. Moreover, she didn't know much about Old Master Zheng and Granny Zheng's family situation. If it turns out to be a misunderstanding, that wouldn't be ideal. Source: web novel. Com. Updated on InvGo. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 738. Spoiled Grandson Maniac _3. Some things only need to be clear between 2 old people. Grandpa Mo and Grandma Mo didn't say a word. Yang handed the completed prescription to Grandpa Mo. Grandpa Zheng, erase the prescription. All right, thank you. Grandpa Zheng took the prescription with both hands and glanced at it, surprise flashing in his eyes. Refined strokes and vigorous spirit. The handwriting was gorgeous. They say handwriting reflects the person, and it was indeed the case. Just when the 2 elders were about to leave, the sky that had just cleared up suddenly began to snow. This was the first snow after the beginning of spring. It had snowed for less than 10 minutes, and there was already a thin layer of snow on the ground. Suehua went to cover the rabbit hutch with plastic sheets to prevent snow from entering. When she came back after covering the hutch, She ran into the old couple on their way out. Uncle Zheng, Auntie Zheng, it's snowing and the roads are slippery. Why don't you stay and have lunch? It's nearly noon anyway, said Enai Tsuehua, who was always a kind person, and couldn't bear to see the two elders trudging through the snow. Oh, we don't want to bother you, Grandma Zheng declined politely. It's no trouble at all, not at all. Enai Tsuehua walked in with Grandma Zheng's arm. We were going to have lunch anyway, so as long as you two don't mind, it's all good. After lunch, I'll get Enai Yang to drop you off at the village. Enai Yang didn't know it was snowing outside, and when she stepped out, she was taken aback. Grandma Zheng, my mom is right. You should stay for lunch, and I'll take you to the village after we eat. The roads were slippery in the snow, and it was a little unsafe for Grandpa and Grandma Zheng, who were already quite old, to walk on their own. The two of them really loved the atmosphere in the Enai family's home. Seeing Enai Tsuehua and her daughters was genuinely heartwarming. They didn't refuse her any further and thanked them in their hearts for being such good people. They wondered what kind of elders they would have had to be in order to raise such good descendants. Hot pot is the best for snowy days. Considering that the two elders could not eat spicy food, Enai Tsuehua specially made a delicious seafood hot pot. The pot was full of clams, Australia lobster, and king crab legs. The soup was creamy and mouth-watering, especially with the accompanying vegetable dishes. This was Beijing, and it was winter, so getting seafood was not easy, even for the rich and powerful families. But the Enai family was different. They had emochishan. Because Enai Yang liked seafood so much, all of these items were flown in by emochishan. The king crab brought in was still alive at that time. Enai Tsuehua was a very considerate person, and she peeled a lot of crab and shrimp meat for Grandpa and Grandma Zheng. Grandpa Zheng usually didn't have much of an appetite, but today he ate all the crab and shrimp meat that Enai Tsuehua had prepared without a word. If you looked closely, you could see the tears glittering in his lowered eyes. If his daughter hadn't been lost, now she should be taking care of him like Enai Tsuehua, right? Grandpa Zheng swallowed his tears along with the crab meat. Grandma Zheng put a piece of peeled crab meat into Enai Tsuehua's bowl. Yang's mom, don't just peel for us. You should eat too. All right. Enai Tsuehua nodded, eating the crab meat. After the meal, Grandpa Zheng was holding little Enai Yun, telling her stories. Little Enai Yun was fascinated. After each story, she clapped for Grandpa Zheng. Grandpa is awesome. Grandpa Zheng was so happy he couldn't stop smiling, which was quite a departure from his usual serious demeanor. After listening to the 10th story, little Enai Yun suddenly said, Grandpa, let's play hide and seek. Sure. Grandpa Zheng nodded. Little Enai Yun jumped off Grandpa Zheng's lap at the mention of this and ran into the house. After a while, she came back with a small handkerchief. Grandpa, is it? All right. Grandpa Zheng nodded again. Little Enai Yun blindfolded Grandpa Zheng with the handkerchief, and the old and the young started playing hide and seek. The living room was filled with laughter from both of them. Grandma Zheng never knew that Grandpa Zheng could be so childlike. After they finished playing hide and seek, little Enai Yun brought a comb, rubber bands, and small clips. Grandpa, can I braid your hair? She often did this for her father, who praised her braids as pretty. Grandpa Zheng's expression was somewhat subtle. He had lived for so many years, and this was the first time anyone had wanted to braid his hair. Chapter 739, Spoiled Grandson Maniac _4. Enai Tsuehua said, Yun, sweetie, don't bother Grandpa anymore. The old man Zheng laughed and said, That's all right. It's a good thing that children like to play. As he spoke, the elder Zheng lowered his head, letting little Enai Yun play on his head. A look of disbelief covered the old Mrs. Zheng's face. The elder Mr. Zheng was acting too strange today. If she hadn't seen with her own eyes, she would have thought he was another person. Not only had little Enai Yun plaits 3 braids on Mr. Zheng's head, but she also clamped a pink clip to his beard and smeared lipstick and foundation on him, making him look very funny. Elder Mr. Zheng had always been old-fashioned and serious. He had never acted like this before. Mrs. Zheng couldn't help but laugh out loud. Little Enai Yun held her face with both hands and said admiringly, Wow, Grandpa looks so pretty. Elder Mr. Zheng. Ha ha. Old Mrs. Zheng laughed so hard that she fell onto the sofa and held her stomach. Little Enai Yun, excited, said, Grandpa, see, Grandma was knocked out by your beauty. At this point, even Anai Yang couldn't help but laugh. Being able to let little Anai Yun play around like this, elder Mr. Zhang must be extremely indulgent with grandkids at home. Pleasant times always seemed to pass quickly, and in the blink of an eye, it was 4 in the afternoon. The winter's early evening comes much earlier than in summer. By 4:10 p.m., it was already getting dark. When the elder Mr. Zhang and Mrs. Zhang proposed to leave, Anai Tsuehua and Anai Yang, along with little Anai Yun, accompanied the old couple to the village entrance. Little Anai Yun was very reluctant to part with elder Mr. Zhang. Grandpa, don't go away. Don't worry, Grandpa will come and visit you often. Elder Mr. Zhang patted little Anai Yun's head. Then let's pinky swear. Little Anai Yun held out her pinky finger. All right. Old Mr. Zhang made a pinky promise with little Anai Yun. Wait a minute. Little Anai Yun continued. Grandpa, I have another gift for you. What's the gift? This is my most favorite hair clip. I'm giving it to you now. Little Anai Yun reluctantly shared her treasured pink pearl hair clip, clipping it onto Elder Zhang's head. Thank you, little Yun Yun. Elder Mr. Zhang looked very happy. You're welcome. Little Anai Yun said shyly. The elderly couple got in the car and waved to Anai Yang and Anai Tsuehua. Yang Yang's mom, Yang Yang, it's getting dark. You guys should go home. The mother and daughter waved back at them. The car quickly disappeared into the snowy landscape. The atmosphere in the car was quiet, but the corners of the elderly couple's mouths were filled with a soft smile. After a while, elder Mr. Zhang said, Aching, don't you think that Yang Yang and little Yun resemble our Ting Ting when she was a child? Especially little Anai Yun. Her chubby little face looked exactly like Zhang Tingting did as a baby. Hearing these words, elder Mrs. Zhang said in surprise, You think so too? She thought she was the only one who thought that. Elder Mr. Zhang looked similarly surprised. You think so too? Yes. Elder Mrs. Zhang nodded, then said, Didn't I tell you last time that I met someone who looked just like our Ting Ting? That was Yang Yang's mom, and the hair that Dr. Xiaoran had taken for testing was also hers. I don't know if Dr. Xiaoran has the results yet. Elder Mr. Zhang let out a sigh. Xiaoran is a responsible kid. If there were results, she would definitely call us straight away, Mrs. Zhang said. Elder Mr. Zhang nodded. When the two returned home, Zhang Lingling asked anxiously, Mom, Dad, it's snowing so hard outside. Where did you go today? I was worried all day at home. You two are not young anymore, and the snowy roads are slippery. What should I do if an accident occurs? Elder Mr. Zhang didn't say anything as usual. He went straight upstairs. Elder Mrs. Zhang laughed and said, Your dad and I went to the countryside to relax. You don't need to worry. Zhang Lingling continued. Mom, Dad, next time you go somewhere, please tell me in advance. I will accompany you so I won't worry. What are these stubborn old people up to? They wouldn't be looking for their daughter again, would they? They're really a couple of worrywarts. Zhang Tingting has been dead for hundreds of years. Why can't they just calm down? Even though she's not their biological child, she is more filial than a real daughter would be. Why can't they be satisfied with that? Don't they know the saying, a man's heart is not enough to swallow an elephant? Elder Mrs. Zhang continued. Lingling, you're also working very hard. You should rest more when you have time. Your dad and I can take care of ourselves. Chapter 740. Spoiled Grandson Maniac _5. Zhang Lingling humbly replied. It's no trouble. What could be so hard for me? I guess this old witch does have a bit of a conscience, acknowledging my daily hustling. Then I'll go upstairs first. All right, Mom. Mrs. Zhang turned and went upstairs. In no time, Zhang Lingling brought up the ginseng soup. Mom, Dad, this is today's ginseng soup. Just as Mrs. Zhang was about to say something, Mr. Zhang spoke. Thank you, Lingling. We'll drink it later. Zhang Lingling nodded. Dad, you should drink it sooner. Its effectiveness decreases once it gets cold. Mr. Zhang nodded in agreement. Without overthinking, Zhang Lingling turned and left. Then Mrs. Zhang proceeded. Why didn't you tell her earlier, so she won't make these supplements anymore? Mr. Zhang responded. We just came back from outside today. If we immediately tell Lingling not to make these supplements, it would arouse suspicion, right? Normally, There are no secrets among family members. But the current situation is special. Not everything is appropriate to share with Zheng Lingling. Mrs. Zheng nodded. True, that makes sense. Then Mr. Zheng poured both bowls of ginseng soup into a nearby watering can. The soup was more suitable as plant water. And Yang went to the Zhao families today to check up on Mrs. Zhao. Mrs. Zhao's recovery was going well, and she now had full mobility in her upper body. After the examination, Mrs. Zhao started talking to Yang about Mrs. Chang. A doctor's heart must be of benevolence. Hearing Mrs. Zhao's words, Yang was deeply sympathetic and asked, "Where is Mrs. Chang now? I can go and take a look." Mrs. Zhao said, "Butler, please take Yang." The butler nodded and turned to Yang. "Miss please follow me." Mrs. Chang was staying in the Zhao family's guest room and was currently under full-time care. Thanks to the caretaker's diligent care, Mrs. Chang seemed quite healthy. Although Mrs. Chang's symptoms appeared similar to Mrs. Zhao's, Yang found something unusual after conducting an examination. Mrs. Chang's loss of speech wasn't due to a stroke, but because she was poisoned by a mute-inducing drug. Could it be Lin Fang? With Lin Fang's malicious nature, there was indeed a possibility. Fortunately, she could cure the effects of the drug. Although she could restore Mrs. Chang's speech, she couldn't do anything about her legs. Her legs were completely necrotic, and because they were not treated in time, they had fully atrophied. Unless the technology to regenerate muscles becomes a reality, Mrs. Chang standing on her own would be impossible. Yang first used several acupuncture needles on Mrs. Chang to clear the stagnation causing her muteness, then fed her a black pill. Mrs. Chang only felt an area of coolness in her throat and a ticklish sensation, almost like something was about to break through the surface. At that moment, Yang held her upright and gave her a glass of water. Like a rainstorm hitting a parched desert, Mrs. Chang vigorously swallowed. In less than 30 seconds, she had drunk the whole glass of water. The thank you. Mrs. Chang expressed her gratitude with a hoarse voice. Yang smiled slightly. Congratulations, you can talk again. It finally dawned on Mrs. Chang. I can speak. Yang nodded. Yes. Mrs. Chang grabbed Yang's hand. Young lady, thank you. I am a doctor, and this is what I should do. Yang began packing up her medical kit. By the way, what happened to your voice? It was Lin Fang. Mrs. Chang tightly gripped the bed cover. It was all because of that wench. She not only caused the death of my son, but also made me lose my speech. Yang looked surprised. So it really was her. Upon hearing of this, Mrs. Zhao immediately called the police, as poisoning someone to mute them is certainly not a minor offense. In front of the police, Mrs. Chang revealed all of Lin Fang's wrongdoings throughout these years. As a result, Lin Fang's prison term was increased from 3 years to 8. Subsequently, Mrs. Zhao had the staff at the nursing home take Mrs. Chang to the nursing home. Mrs. Zhao felt sorry for Mrs. Chang's predicament and arranged for her to stay in a high-end single room in the nursing home with one-on-one nursing care. The cost was quite high, at 500 yuan per year. In the eyes of ordinary people, 500 yuan is a fortune, but for Mrs. Zhao, it was nothing. Additionally, Mrs. Zhao gave Mrs. Chang 1,000 yuan in cash, which Mrs. Chang insisted she couldn't accept. Chapter 741. Spoiled Grandson Maniac _6. She already owes the Zhao family so much, and the situation with Lin Fang and Mrs. Zhao was a regrettable disaster. She was truly remorseful. Mrs. Zhao sat in her wheelchair, tightly clasping Mrs. Chang's hand. You're also a victim, dear sister. Hold on to this. Whenever you crave anything in the nursing home, send someone to buy it. This is all I can offer you now. Tears streamed down Mrs. Chang's face as she said, Thank you, thank you. You're a genuinely good person. The nursing home was a pleasant environment. Mrs. Chang liked it a lot. Besides, there were a lot of elderly people around, so the caretakers could wheel her out to chat during their free time. Yang visited a recently opened noodle restaurant branch for an audit today. The branch manager was a woman named Su Mei. Su Mei was a highly inspirational woman. At 39, she had lost her husband to cancer 3 years ago, and was now living with her 18-year-old daughter and mother-in-law. Originally, Yang would routinely appoint villagers from Jinghua village as managers, but now none remained. Hence, Yang had to hire externally. Su Mei was exceptionally responsible and cherished this job. Yang, here are the accounts for these past few days. Would you take a look? Su Mei handed Yang the ledger and 3 large iron boxes. Despite their unassuming and slightly rusty exterior, they held all the revenue earned in the last few days. Thank you, Aunt Su Mei. Yang took the ledger. She skimmed through the ledger, her casual demeanor concealing the thoroughness of her scrutiny. Only Su Mei knew how meticulous Yang was, picking up on the slightest irregularities. The boxes contained a week's worth of total business turnover, amounting to 35,600 yuan. With the earnings from the neighboring milk tea shop, the total came to 78,000 yuan. The money was organized neatly. 50 yuan notes were grouped together, as were the single yuan notes. The numerous coins contributed to the nearly 20 kilograms of cash. Just as they were counting the money, a young schoolgirl rushed in with her backpack. Mom, Hui, what happened? You look flustered, Su Mei asked. The young girl was Su Mei's daughter, Sun Hui. Out of breath, Sun Hui said, Mom, Grandma fell in the yard. She was taken to the hospital by Aunt Zhang from next door. Upon hearing this, Su Mei tensed up. What happened? Why would your grandma suddenly fall? Yang looked up and said, Aunt Su, feel free to leave if you have anything urgent to handle. But the shop is so busy. Su Mei felt a little reluctant. Yang smiled and said, Don't worry, I'm still here. Hurry up and go. Emergencies shouldn't wait. You know I always want to be a considerate employer. At that moment, Sun Hui looked at Yang and exclaimed, The school beauty. Yang was taken aback. Sun Hui continued, My name is Sun Hui. I'm a student in class 6 of grade 3 at San Middle School. Aren't you the school beauty, Yang? With her striking looks, and having attained the top spot in the transfer student examination, Yang was practically a legend at the school. Yang smiled and replied, I am Yang, but being called the school beauty is too flattering. School beauty, do you also work part-time here? Hui asked. Su Mei said, Yang is the boss here. Presumably surprised, Hui exclaimed, Oh my God. You're so amazing, school beauty. Although owning a business sometimes had a negative connotation, it wasn't something just anyone could accomplish. Yang continued, Hui, didn't you say that your grandma had a fall and is in the hospital? You and Aunt Su Mei should go and check on her quickly. Reminded by Yang, Sun Hui suddenly remembered, That's right, Mom, let's go quickly. Su Mei untied her apron a little embarrassed. Then Yang would better get going. Right, Yang nodded and continued. If you encounter any difficulties, Aunt Su, feel free to let me know at any time. Sure, thank you, Yang. Mother and daughter hastily rushed out of the shop. Sun Hui said, Our school beauty seems nice. I used to think she was aloof, but it turns out she's very approachable. There wasn't a popular word like cool to describe one's demeanor in those days. Aloof was a fair pre-modern equivalent. Su Mei nodded. Yes, Yang is a nice person. Upon reaching the hospital, they discovered that Mrs. Sun didn't have any serious injuries. She had just scraped her head, and after a bit of bandaging, she could be discharged. Seeing that Mrs. Sun was fine, Su Mei heaved a sigh of relief, admonishing, Mom, you need to be careful when you're at home alone. We were lucky nothing serious happened today. But what if you'd hurt your legs instead? Mrs. Sun nodded, chuckling. I know. It had just snowed a few days ago, and the ground was icy. I was walking a bit too fast and didn't realize I would slip. Time flew, and another month passed. The ice and snow have melted. The willows on the riverbank began to sprout, and the silhouettes of swallows nesting could be seen everywhere on the roofs and eaves. The warm sun was high in the sky, and Yang was loosening the soil for the plants in the yard. Shangguan Dehui, Tsuehua, and Mrs. Shangguan had taken little Yin to fly kites by the riverbank. Yang was too lazy to join them, so she stayed home. At this moment, a pair of slender hands playfully covered Yang's eyes. A faint scent of tobacco emanated from her sleeves. Guess who I am? Yang turned slightly and laughed. I'm guessing it must be Erguzi from next door. Swiftly confess who Erguzi is. The more you resist, the worse it gets. Mo Qishan released her, hooked his arm around her waist and pulled her close. He leaned over her, his lips brushing against hers. The scent of smoke was clear. Seeing that he was not going to stop, Yang gently pushed him away, laughing. Brother Mo, when did you get back? The sunlight shone on his dimples, making her want to kiss him again. I just got back. I came to see you right away. How was it, boss? Did I do a good job? Mo Qishan rested his head on her neck and asked. 3 months. It had been 3 full months since he had last seen their boss. Yang laughed and replied, still under review. In Mo Qishan's presence, Yang was spared the chore of tilling and fertilizing the dirt. This was his first time handling such a taxing task, but under Yang's guidance, he managed to do it quite well. The Zheng family. Mrs. Zheng received a phone call and hurriedly ran to the backyard. Zheng Jun. Mr. Zheng was weeding the flowers. Hearing Mrs. Zheng call his name, he answered questioningly, What's up? Mrs. Zheng rarely used his name, unless it was something important. Mrs. Zheng was on the verge of tears. I just got a call from Dr. Xiaoran. She asked us to come ASAP. Clang. The hoe in Mr. Zheng's hand fell to the ground. All right. We'll leave right now. Chapter 742. Identification results, confirmed biological. _1 The two elderly people propped each other up as they walked out. Old Master Zheng said. Aching, what did Xiaoran say? Sometimes the greater the hope, the greater the disappointment. Old Master Zheng didn't want to experience that feeling of loss again. Judging from Xiaoran's tone, it should be good news. Old Madame Zheng's voice was trembling. On the phone, Dr. Xiaoran's voice was filled with suppressed joy. This time, it must be for sure. Really? Old Master Zheng's eyes turned red. Yes, said Old Madame Zheng, nodding. Quick, change your clothes. We need to leave right now. Old Master Zheng had just been weeding the garden, and there was a fair amount of dirt on his clothes. What's the point of changing? Let's go. At this moment, Old Master Zheng was in no mood to change his clothes. He was desperate to get to Dr. Xiaoran's place immediately to see the results. Nothing is more important than his own daughter. If you don't want to change, then let's go. Old Madame Zheng took Old Master Zheng's sleeve and headed out. The two were hurrying and ran into Zheng Lingling at the door. Seeing the two elders in such a hurry, Zheng Lingling asked with concern. Mom, Dad, where are you rushing off to? Before the matter was confirmed, Old Madame Zheng didn't want to tell Zheng Lingling. Your father and I have promised each other that we will go to see a play at 11 o'clock this morning, and it's almost time. Let me drive you. Zheng Lingling followed the elders. She always felt that Old Master Zheng and Old Madame Zheng were hiding something from her. It was not as simple as watching a play. These two old farts. Old Madame Zheng and Old Master Zheng got in the car and denied. Lingling, you stay at home. There are other things to do at home. Your father and I will go first. After speaking, she closed the car door and said to the driver in front, Xiaolu, let's go. Zheng Lingling looked at the car leaving a trail of dust. There was only dissatisfaction in her eyes. Now Zheng Lingling could basically conclude that Old Madame Zheng and Old Master Zheng were not just going out to watch a play. What the hell these two old bastards are hiding from her? Does it have something to do with Zheng Tingting? So many years have passed, Zheng Tingting is still not dead? Zheng Lingling turned and walked towards the villa. Just at this moment, as if she suddenly remembered something, she squinted, turned her head and looked at the maid. Get Xiaozhong for me, I have to go out. Yes, madam. The maid nodded. In a little while, Zheng Lingling took a car and arrived at a common residential area. This was where Dr. Jiang lived. Aunt Jiang. When Zheng Lingling arrived, Dr. Jiang was sipping tea on the sofa. The room was rather old, with a worn-out black and white TV set on the table. Hearing this, Dr. Jiang put down her tea with surprise. Lingling, what brings you here? Zheng Lingling followed with, I specifically came to thank you. After taking your medicine, my mom and dad have improved a lot. I haven't heard my mom cough for a month. Dr. Jiang squinted her eyes. Is the tonic still being cooked every day? Every day. Zheng Lingling replied. Dr. Jiang stood up from the sofa. I am really relieved to hear this. But even though your parents are much better now, they still need the daily tonic. Okay. Zheng Lingling nodded. Dr. Jiang went to the wooden shelf and picked up a white plastic bottle. If you keep taking the same medicine, the bacteria in the body will develop immunity. The old medicine won't work for your mother anymore. Replace it with this one. Okay, thank you, Aunt Jiang. Zheng Lingling took the bottle. Dr. Jiang said, I and your mother have been old friends for decades. There's no need to thank. By the way, there's one more thing. Zheng Lingling continued. Tell me. Zheng Lingling glanced out the window, then lowered her voice and whispered something in Dr. Jiang's ear. Hearing this, Dr. Jiang's face changed. Don't worry, a soldier will block the way and the water will cover the earth. Dr. Jiang continued. Besides, this is just your speculation. Go home first. Zheng Lingling hesitated for a moment, then nodded. Wait a moment. Dr. Jiang called out to Zheng Lingling's retreating figure. Zheng Lingling turned around. What's wrong, Aunt Jiang? You wait here for me. After speaking, Dr. Jiang turned around and walked towards the inner room. After a while, Dr. Jiang came out, with an extra bag in her hand. Chapter 743. Identification result, confirmed biological. _2. What is this? Zheng Lingling asked, puzzled. Dr. Jiang said, spring is coming soon, so this is a sweat that I knitted for Xianjing. She can start wearing it as a coat when the weather warms. Zheng Lingling was taken aback. Don't you have vertigo? Dr. Jiang suffered from vertigo that did not affect her daily life. Still, every time she did work that required bending down, her task resulted in unbearable dizziness, with sparkles in her vision. For fine work like knitting a sweater, the sweat and time she put in were many times more than ordinary people. For a time, Zheng Lingling was deeply moved. Dr. Jiang laughed and said, It's just a sweater, no big deal. I don't even know if Xianjing would like it. Zheng Lingling immediately said, She will love it. Xianjing will absolutely like it. How could Zheng Xianjing not enjoy a hand-knitted sweater like this? Furthermore, it symbolizes Dr. Jiang's goodwill. That's good. Dr. Jiang continued. All right, you should go back now. Zheng Lingling nodded. Aunt Jiang will be leaving now. Dr. Jiang nodded, watching as Zheng Lingling left. Back home, Zheng Lingling handed the sweater knitted with love by Dr. Jiang to Zheng Xianjing and mysteriously said, Xianjing, see what's inside. What is it? Zheng Xianjing took the bag. What's the big mystery? You'll know when you see it. Zheng Lingling replied. Zheng Xianjing opened the bag and pulled out a yellow cardigan sweater and grimaced. Oh my god! This sweater's color is horrific. It's shit yellow. Mom, did you buy this? Your taste is truly terrible. Zheng Lingling frowned slightly. What kind of things are you saying? What do you mean shit yellow? Isn't this color beautiful? Whatever, I don't like it. Zheng Xianjing carelessly tossed the sweater aside. Zheng Lingling picked up the sweater again. This is knitted by your Granny Jiang. It's a token of her affection. How can you talk like this? Thinking of Jiang, the doctor with vertigo, insisting on knitting a sweater for Zheng Xianjing, Zheng Lingling's heart ached. What Granny Jiang? Zheng Xianjing continued. I think she didn't have good intentions. Last time I heard it outside the study room loud and clear. She told grandmother, a foster daughter can never equal a biological one, and even coaxed Granny to not give up on finding her biological daughter. Ever since she overheard that conversation outside the study, Zheng Xianjing couldn't find a single thing to like about Dr. Jiang. Dr. Jiang just muddied the waters, a cunning and petty individual. Zheng Lingling sighed. Xianjing, you're still young and don't understand some things. You just need to know one thing. Granny Jiang is really fond of you. She suffers from severe vertigo. Do you know how difficult it is for her to finish knitting this sweater? Zheng Xianjing managed a laugh. What does her vertigo have to do with me? It's not like I begged her to knit this sweater. Did she think that winning her over was that easy by using such a low-end strategy? Only Zheng Lingling could be deceived that easily. How could you be so ungrateful? Zheng Lingling said in frustration. Look, Granny Jiang gave you a sweater despite having severe vertigo. What about your grandmother? Your grandmother is physically well. What has she given you? Compared to Granny Zheng, Dr. Jiang is more like a grandmother. Granny Zheng had never personally made anything for Zheng Xianjing. Zhang Xianjing snorted. They're both no good. Granny Zhang only ever cared about her biological daughter, and never treated herself like her own granddaughter. And Dr. Jiang was only nice to her because of the Zhang family status. She was clearly a flatterer. Their kind is, in essence, fawning toadies. Zhang Lingling glared. Xianjing, how could you talk about Granny Jiang like that? Zhang Xianjing, at a loss for words, said, Mom, what on earth are you trying to say? Is it all for the sake of this shit-colored sweater? Is it worth it? For the last time, this sweater is not shit yellow. Zhang Lingling suppressed her anger. In a few days your Granny Jiang will come for Granny's physical checkup. By that time you'd better put it on and thank Granny Jiang properly. If you want to wear it you can. I want. Zhang Lingling then said. If you don't want to wear it, that's fine too. But if you want, you can forget about getting your allowance this month. Granny Zhang gives Zhang Xianjing 4,500 yuan in allowance every month. Although the money comes from Granny Zhang, it goes through Zhang Lingling's hands first. Chapter 744. Identification result. Confirmed to be biological. _3. Zhang Xianjing frowned, then took the sweater. I understand. Zhang Lingling sighed. Xianjing, one day you will understand my intentions. Dr. Zioran's lab is quite a distance from the Zhang family home. Zhang Patriarch is a very patient man, but today patience seems to have lost its effect on him. He kept urging the driver, almost as if he wanted to jump out of the car. Xiaolu, hurry up. Even faster. Xiaolu said, Old master, this is as fast as I can go. The old man frowned discontentedly. The fastest speed is still so slow. It seems we need to get a new car. Zhang Matriarch was also very anxious. Xiaolu, isn't there a shortcut? Let's take the shortcut. Xiaolu said, Old master, old mistress, please don't worry. This is the fastest I can go. I think we should be able to reach Dr. Zioran's lab in about 10 more minutes. These 10 minutes felt longer than 10 years for the old couple. Finally, the car stopped in front of the lab. The patriarch couldn't wait and hopped out of the car, followed by the matriarch. In his haste, the old man almost tripped over a stone. But Xiaolu was able to lend support just in time. Old master, please be careful. Hearing noises outside, Dr. Xiaoran, dressed in his white lab coat, came out of the lab. Aching, Uncle Zhang, you're here. Xiaoran. The matriarch grabbed hold of Dr. Zioran's hand. Even the usually reticent patriarch asked, Xiaoran, what's the status of the test results? Dr. Zioran's face showed no particular expression. He replied, Aching, Uncle Zhang, please don't worry. Come inside and we'll talk. Seeing Dr. Xiaoran behaving like this, the couple felt a thump in their hearts. Were they going to be disappointed again? Xiaoran, just tell Aching straight up if that girl is my Tingting or not. Tears welled up in the matriarch's eyes. Dr. Xiaoran invited them to sit on the sofa. Aching, would you and Uncle Zhang like a cup of tea? Prepare yourselves mentally, and I'll get the report. Prepare mentally? Could it be that Enide Suihua really wasn't their daughter? The matriarch's smile quickly vanished, and the patriarch's mood became complex at that moment. They had hoped all along. Why must reality be so cruel? Why, just why? The patriarch let out a long sigh, covered his face with both hands, his heart filled with sorrow. This kind of discomfort was beyond words. Dr. Xiaoran quickly came back with the DNA test report in hand. Uncle Zhang here? The patriarch was lost in pain, and he didn't have the mood to accept the report. The matriarch took the report with trembling hands. The report was full of professional jargon. She skimmed through it, went straight to the last line. The genes of the examined align with the genetic conditions of the listed parents. The probability of their biological relationship has been calculated to be 9,999% at the bottom. There was a red seal. Confirmed biological. Confirmed biological. The expression on the matriarch's face shifted from infinite sadness to boundless joy. She was as happy at this moment as she was heartbroken when she lost her daughter. Thank God. This couldn't be more wonderful. The matriarch was so overjoyed that she cried, pressing the report to her chest, and started sobbing. Tingting. My Tingting. Zhengjun. Old man. We found our Tingting. Heaven has shown mercy. The patriarch paused, looking at his wife. What did you say? She's ours. She's our biological Tingting. She is our Tingting. Look at this. The matriarch was almost babbling with joy. The patriarch reined in his overwhelming joy and took the report with trembling hands. When he saw the red stamp that said confirmed biological, tears welled up in his eyes. He had waited so many years. At last he had found his biological daughter. She was his daughter. He knew his intuition wouldn't be wrong. Aching. Old woman. We have found Tingting. We have found Tingting. We finally found Tingting. The patriarch hugged the matriarch, and they both wept together. Dr. Shaoran, standing nearby, smiled and said, Aching Uncle Zheng, it's good news that we found Tingting. You two should stop crying. Yes, Shaoran is right, this is good news. We shouldn't cry. The matriarch accepted the handkerchief Dr. Shaoran offered, wiping away tears from the patriarch's face. Chapter 745. Identification result. Confirmed biological. _4. Old Mr. Zheng turned his head obstinately. I'm not crying. Shaoran, thank you. Old Mistress Zheng looked at Dr. Shaoran. Aching, it's my duty. Dr. Shaoran replied. Old Mr. Zheng stood up anxiously. Let's go, Aching. We're going to find our daughter. All right. The two elderly people left the laboratory and got in the car. This time, they were even more eager than when they were on their way to the lab. Aching, do you think I look okay in these clothes? Old Mr. Zheng was both anxious to see his daughter and worried about his appearance. Old Mistress Zheng smiled with tears in her eyes. Look at you, your clothes are all covered in mud. I told you to change before we left. The couple sat restlessly in the car. Do you think Tingting will recognize us? Asked Old Mistress Zheng nervously. Will she blame me for not taking good care of her when she was young? It was all my fault, all my fault. If I had been more vigilant, we wouldn't have lost our Tingting. Old Mr. Zheng consoled her. It wasn't your fault, Aching. It wasn't. Soon they arrived at the village entrance. Old Mr. Zheng and Mistress Zheng hurriedly got out of the car and practically ran towards the Ni family's courtyard. In no time, they arrived at the Ni family's courtyard. Old Mistress Zheng looked at Old Mr. Zheng. Zheng Jun, do you have the identification report? We'll need to show it to our child. Old Mr. Zheng took the report out of his pocket immediately. Got it. Once the identification report was found, Old Mistress Zheng knocked on the door. Bang bang bang. Each knock getting more urgent than the last. Then the door opened. The two elderly people were overjoyed. Tingting. But instead of Ni Tsuehua, it was Shangguan Dehui who opened the door. Uncle Zheng, Aunt Zheng. Where's Tingting? Oh wait, where's Daya? Asked Old Mistress Zheng. She's in the yard. Before Shangguan Dehui could finish speaking, Old Mr. Zheng and Old Mistress Zheng charged into the house. Shangguan Dehui rubbed his eyes in disbelief. When did Uncle and Aunt Zheng get so fast? He couldn't help but think that the look of disappointment on their faces when they saw him was unmistakable. Was he really that disappointing? Shangguan Dehui closed the door in confusion. When Old Master Zheng and Old Mistress Zheng rushed in, Ni Tsuehua was feeding a rabbit some vegetables. Tingting. Old Mr. Zheng and Old Mistress Zheng ran over and hugged Ni Tsuehua tightly. Tingting. Our dear daughter, we've finally found you. Ni Tsuehua was stunned. What's going on? Upon finally seeing their child, whom they had longed for day and night, the elderly couple couldn't help weeping. Shangguan Dehui was also a bit taken aback, as Ni Tsuehua had told him about her origins. He didn't expect her biological parents to show up so soon. Uncle Zheng, Aunt Zheng, are you sure you haven't mistaken me for someone else? Ni Tsuehua wiped away the tears from Old Mr. and Mistress Zheng. Although she had long known she wasn't her parents' biological daughter, the idea that Old Mr. and Mistress Zheng could be her biological parents was hard to believe. This was too incredible. Shangguan Dehui stepped forward and said, Uncle Zheng, Aunt Zheng, this is not a joking matter. How are you so certain that Daya is your biological daughter? He knew that the Zheng family had lost a daughter many years ago, and he could understand the elder couple's feelings. But if this turns out to be a misunderstanding, then the ones hurt wouldn't just be the elderly couple. Ni Tsuehua had always been curious to know what her biological parents looked like, and their reasons for abandoning her. Old Mistress Zheng choked back her sobs and said, "We didn't mistake her. We didn't. Daya is our daughter. She's Tingting." Old man, Zheng Jun, quickly show her the identification report. They have had misunderstandings in the past, which was why Old Mistress and Mr. Zheng were so cautious this time, waiting for the identification results before acknowledging their daughter. Old Mr. Zheng handed the report to Shangguan Dehui with trembling hands. Shangguan Dehui took the report and was shocked after reading it. So Enai Tsuehua really was the biological daughter of Old Mr. and Mistress Zheng. Shangguan Dehui passed the report to Enai Tsuehua. "Daya, Uncle Zheng and Aunt Zheng are your biological parents." Enai Tsuehua took the report, and as she read the words on it, her eyes filled with tears. Chapter 746. Identification result, confirmed biological. _5. She never dreamed that one day her biological parents would come looking for her in her lifetime. This all felt too surreal. Was she dreaming? "My daughter, my poor daughter, I'm sorry." Mrs. Zheng hugged Enai Tsuehua again. Mr. Zheng stood to the side, wiping his tears. "Why did you abandon me?" Enai Tsuehua asked. This is probably the question deep in the hearts of every abandoned child. Why did they abandon her? Since they didn't want her, why did they give birth to her in the first place? Thinking back on her past, Enai Tsuehua felt an overwhelming sense of injustice. Her adoptive father had sold her cheaply to Mu Jinbao for money. At the Mu family, she had had her fill of life's bitterness. Why? Now seeing her biological parents, she just wanted to understand why. "My child, I'm sorry, I'm terribly sorry." Mrs. Zheng sobbed as she recounted the past. 35 years ago, life was not as prosperous as it is now. The nation was going through a turbulent period, and there was a shortage of talents. Mr. and Mrs. Zheng, due to their unique jobs, had to work 5,000 kilometers away from Beijing. At that time, Zheng Tingting was only 3 years old. The 3-year-old Tingting was very smart. Not only could she count to 100, but she could also recite 300 Tang poems. In her free time, Mrs. Zheng would also teach her English. Despite the tough living conditions in the mountainous region, the family of 3 was very happy. But their happiness was short-lived. One day, while Mrs. Zheng was taking Tingting to the temple fair, she got lost in the crowd. Mrs. Zheng was almost distraught and searched for 3 days and 3 nights without any sleep but still could not find Tingting. Mr. Zheng would never forget that day. The day he found his wife. Mrs. Zheng had been unrecognizable. Her once spotlessly clean appearance was now filthy and foul, covered in injuries. She constantly called out for Tingting's name, but she did not have any tears left to cry. Perhaps only those who have experienced it can understand a mother's heart. Mr. Zheng couldn't bear to blame her. After his job was done, he took Mrs. Zheng back to Beijing and hired a foreign psychologist to help her. Mrs. Zheng's condition improved until Jiang Yan brought Zheng Lingling across the Pacific Ocean to meet her. Both of them had lost a beloved daughter. Both of them had lost a family member. This shared suffering made Mrs. Zheng transfer all her love for her daughter to Zheng Lingling. But after that, Mrs. Zheng would visit the place where Tingting was lost every year. They never gave up looking for their daughter, but fate seemed to be constantly playing tricks on them. Fortunately this time, they finally found her. "Tingting. My child, we are finally reunited as a family, thanks to God's will. We will never separate again." Mrs. Zheng sobbed till she lost her voice. The news about the Zheng family had caused quite a stir in Beijing years ago. Shangguan Dehui had heard bits and pieces of it. "Daya, the situation is indeed as Aunt Zheng described. She did not lie." Upon Shangguan Dehui's confirmation, Enai Tsuehua let go of her doubts, hugged Mr. and Mrs. Zheng tightly and said, "Mom, Dad, AI, Tingting, my daughter." The elderly couple had waited so many years to hear these 2 words. The words Mom and Dad may seem simple. They consist of only 14 strokes in total. Probably only Mr. and Mrs. Zheng knew how much effort they had put in to hear this call of Mom and Dad. They had been through so many false alarms. After the old couple had slightly calmed down, Shangguan Dehui and Enai Tsuehua guided them to the living room. Mr. and Mrs. Zheng would hardly leave Enai Kuihua's side for a moment. They both held Enai Kuihua's hand on either side, as if afraid she would disappear the next second. The elderly couple surrounded Enai Tsuehua and talked to her about many things. Ting, your full name is Zheng Ting. Zheng from Zheng ear. And Ting is the Ting from Pingting graceful. Your dad has 2 younger brothers, your uncles, and also you have an aunt called Zheng Suyu. She lives in our house. Enai Tsuehua felt very strange at this moment. Her surname was originally Zheng, and her previous name was Zheng Ting. Besides her parents, she had other relatives. Oh yes, Ting, there's one more important thing I have to tell you. Mrs. Zheng continued. You may speak. Mrs. Zheng was carefully choosing her words, then she said, after you were lost, I adopted a daughter who is 4 years older than you. Her name was Chao Lingrue, but she changed it to Zheng Lingling. Lingling's mom was your aunt, who was my only sister. Your aunt and her husband died in a plane crash, and only Lingling was left. Chapter 747. Identification result, confirmed biological. _6. She was afraid that Enai Tsuehua might take umbrage. After all, she had adopted Zheng Lingling shortly after Enai Tsuehua went missing. Yet after she explained, there were no particular changes on Enai Tsuehua's face. Because to her, Zheng Lingling has also been unfortunate, losing her parents at the age of 7. It was only natural that Zheng's grandmother, the only relative Lingling had in the world, had adopted her. Seeing Enai Tsuehua didn't blame her, Zheng's grandfather and grandmother breathed a sigh of relief. Zheng's grandfather continued, Child, you've heard your mother's story, but we still don't know. How have you lived these years? I've been okay. Everything had happened a long time ago, and Enai Tsuehua didn't want to add to her parents' sadness. Daya had a very hard life. Shangguan Dahue suddenly interjected. When Daya was just a teenager, she was sold by her adoptive father to a family named Mu in a neighboring village. She had a horrible time there. The Muse abused her physically and verbally, blaming her for not delivering a son. They even discarded Daya's 3 newborn daughters, and then, since their marriage, there were hardly any secrets between Enai Tsuehua and Shangguan Dahue. Sometimes, only the crying child will get the milk. What's more, these were all things Enai Tsuehua had personally experienced. The situation would seem grossly unfair to Enai Tsuehua if she just casually dismissed that past. Vastly unfair. Zheng's grandfather and grandmother, who had managed to stop crying, broke down again at this point. Ting, my poor child. We have let you suffer all these years, it's all our fault. All our fault. If only we had found you sooner, you wouldn't have had to suffer like this. We're sorry. We're very sorry. The things that Shangguan Dahue said can be unbearable to hear, enough to make one's hair stand on end. Nobody knew how Enai Tsuehua had made it through all those years. Grandpa Zheng and Grandma Zheng felt utterly heartbroken. They were struggling. Enai Tsuehua comforting Zheng's grandfather and grandmother. It's okay now. It's all over already, isn't it? The atmosphere in the living room was somewhat heavy. When Enai Yang and Emo Qishan returned from the river with little Enai Yun, this was the sight that greeted them. They all wore coronets made of willow on their heads. Yang, Xiaoma, you're back. Enai Tsuehua wiped the tears from her face. Come here, come. Enai Yang and Emo Qishan exchanged glances, both seeing confusion in each other's eyes. They walked over, holding little Enai Yun. With a hoarse voice, Enai Tsuehua said, Yang Yunyan, this is your grandfather and grandmother. Technically, Enai Yang should call Zheng's grandmother and grandfather grandpa and grandma. But since the old couple didn't have a son of their own, according to custom, they should be addressed as grandfather and grandmother. Grandfather, grandmother? What's going on? Enai Yang was confused for a moment. Emo Qishan was also slightly taken aback. Little Enai Yun, however, held her arms open to Zheng's grandfather. Grandpa, hold me. Zheng's grandfather took little Enai Yun with teary eyes. Yun. This was his own granddaughter. His own. Zheng's grandfather was extremely excited. Zheng's grandmother clutched Enai Yang's hand, her voice trembling with emotion. Good child, let grandma take a look at you. No wonder, the first time I saw you, I felt so close to you. Darling, grandfather and grandmother finally found you. The 4 generations of the family held each other in a tight embrace. Their family was finally reunited. Enai Yang had a general idea of what was happening. It would seem that Zheng's grandfather and grandmother were Nai Kuihua's biological parents. Sure enough, Shangguan Dihui's next words confirmed this. Yang Yang, Uncle Zheng and Aunt Zheng are your mother's biological parents. So it's true. Nai Tsuehua introduced Mo Qishan to Zheng's grandfather and grandmother. Mom and Dad, this is Yang Yang's boyfriend Xiaomo. Mo Qishan politely responded. Grandfather Zheng, grandmother Zheng. Both Zheng family and Mo family were close friends, so the old couple knew Mo Qishan well. Technically, Mo Qishan should call them uncle and aunt. Addressing them as grandfather and grandmother felt somewhat strange. Xiaomo. Zheng's grandmother smilingly said. We didn't have time to prepare a red envelope today. We'll definitely make it up to you later. Even if this Mo Qishan was a bit useless. He was good-looking and gentle, not as bad as rumored. He and Nai Yang looked good together. And even if Mo Qishan were truly worthless, so what? Zheng family was wealthy enough to afford to keep a Mo Qishan. Since Nai Yang liked him, then as elders, they will certainly offer their full support. Zheng's grandfather and grandmother stayed with the Nai family until it was dark, and then went home. They had initially wanted to take Nai Tsuehua and her family back to the Zheng household, but many preparations hadn't been made in advance. Hence the old couple left first to get things ready. After all, their long-lost daughter was here, and wouldn't suddenly disappear again. They wanted to hold a grand family reunion ceremony. The old couple returned home with smiles on their faces. Zheng Lingling asked, Mom, Dad, did something good happen? Zheng's grandfather bragged, Lingling, I've got some good news for you. What good news? Zheng Lingling asked in confusion. Zheng's grandfather couldn't wait to share the exciting news with Zheng Lingling. Lingling, we've found your sister. Sister? Zheng Lingling's heart skipped a beat. Could it be Zheng Tingting? Zheng Tingting was not dead. Zheng Lingling still maintained a smile on her face, feigning surprise. Is it Tingting? Zheng's grandmother nodded with tears in her eyes. Yes, yes, yes. It's your sister Tingting. We finally found her after all these years. What? Zheng Tingting is actually alive. Zheng Lingling was struggling to keep her smiled. Mom, Dad, are you sure? Don't let it be a false alarm like the last few times. These two old people. They just said a few days ago to Dr. Jiang that they wouldn't look for their biological daughter anymore. How come they found Zheng Tingting so quickly? She knew it. They never treated her as their own daughter from the start. Terrible. Just terrible. Zheng's grandmother said firmly. We won't be wrong this time, we absolutely won't. It's Tingting, my daughter. Suppressing her bitterness, Zheng Lingling continued. Mom, people are so fickle these days. There are so many people out there trying to associate with the powerful and wealthy. We must investigate everything thoroughly to avoid inviting the wolf into the house. By the way, have you done a paternity test? Who conducted it? Chapter 748. Recognize relatives. _1 Zheng Lingling felt extremely upset. If Zheng Tingting were really found and brought back, what would happen to her and Zheng Xianjing? The return of Zheng Tingting would mean she is coming back to fight for the family inheritance. All these years she had devotedly served these two old creatures, and this was the outcome she was facing. Mom, this is a big deal. We can't rush this. Zheng Lingling continued. There will be no mistake this time. We have already done the identification. She is my Tingting, my poor Tingting who suffered a lot in the past. As she spoke, the old lady Zheng burst into tears. Can I see the identification? Zheng Lingling asked next. The old man Zheng handed Zheng Lingling the identification papers. As she took the papers, she went pale in shock. She had thought that the old Mr. and Mrs. Zheng had merely found someone who looked like Zheng Tingting. She had never thought that these two old creatures had even got a parent-child identification done. If the identification had not been done, there might have been ways to salvage the situation. But now that it was done, what could she do? Zheng Lingling wished she could tear the paper to shreds right then and there. Mom, Dad, when did you get this identified? This is such a huge joyous event. Why didn't you tell us about it? Zheng Lingling managed to keep her anger under control. When they went to Dr. Wang's to get the test, hadn't they already had Zheng Xianjing's hair replaced? When had they secretly gone again to get an identification done behind her back? Mrs. Zheng replied. We only got the result recently. Your father and I discussed it, and we didn't tell you because we were afraid it would be a false alarm. I see. Zheng Lingling said concernedly. Mom, Dad, congrats on finding Tingting. Oh, by the way, where is Tingting now? Why didn't she come back with you? Mrs. Zheng continued. Your sister Tingting is at home right now. Your father and I have discussed it, and are planning to throw a grand party for her homecoming and formally recognize our ancestors. Zheng Lingling's jealous heart was near twisting as she said. Yes, it's indeed a great occasion to find Tingting after so long. We should throw a big party. Mom, let me take care of the banquet this time. I'll make sure it's grand. Mrs. Zheng smiled and said, Lingling, your willingness is enough. For this family reunion, your father and I want to personally take charge. We owe Tingting so much, we want to make it up to her. Handling the event personally, and leaving it to Zheng Lingling, would carry different meanings. See, this was the difference between a biological daughter and an adopted daughter. Now that the biological daughter had come back, the adoption daughter had become as insignificant as a blade of grass. She was even deprived of the privileges of organizing the banquet. If only she could remember that all the banquets of the Zheng family, big or small, had always been organized by her. Zheng Lingling suppressed her feelings and kept a smiling face. That leaves you and Dad with all the work then. Oh right, Mom, Dad, you haven't eaten yet, have you? I specifically asked the kitchen to save some food for you. I'll serve it to you upstairs now. Mrs. Zheng smiled and replied. You don't need to bother, Lingling. Your father and I already ate at Tingting's. The corners of Zheng Lingling's smile almost drooped. All right then, Mom, Dad. You two should get some rest early. Mrs. Zheng nodded. You should also rest early, Lingling. Zheng Lingling returned to her third-floor bedroom, still smiling. As soon as she closed the door, her face changed. Her eyes were filled with malice. What's wrong? Who has upset you again? Zheng Lingling's husband, sitting on the sofa reading the newspaper, looked up at Zheng Lingling as she entered. Zheng Lingling's husband was named Sun Wu. As a son-in-law who had married into the family, he didn't have much presence in the Zheng family. Zheng Lingling said angrily, You're still in the mood to read the newspaper. We won't have a foothold in the Zheng family soon. What happened? Sun Wu put down his newspaper. They found their biological daughter. Zheng Lingling said. Sun Wu was surprised. They actually found her? Would I joke about such a thing? Zheng Lingling was so angry, everything was irritating her. Sun Wu continued. This is unbelievable. She's been missing for 35 years and they found her. Where did they find her? They hid it so well, I hadn't heard a word beforehand. Sun Wu had never thought that Zheng Tingting, who had been missing for 35 years, could be found. Zheng Lingling got even angrier as she listened, and she grabbed a pillow and threw it at Sun Wu. Mother! You're still calling her mother. Do you think she considers you as her son-in-law? Just wait. Once her biological daughter comes back, our whole family will end up living under a bridge. Chapter 749. Recognize Family. _2. Sun Wu put the pillow on the sofa, then said, It shouldn't be that serious, right? They're pretty nice to us usually, you're just overthinking things. As he finished speaking, Sun Wu continued, By the way, what kind of family was your sister living in before? What's their situation like? I haven't had a chance to ask, Zheng Lingling said then. The only reason those two old folks treated us well before was because they hadn't found their own daughter, and they were counting on us to take care of them in their old age. Now that they've found their biological daughter, who are we to them? At these words, Sun Wu squinted his eyes. From what you're saying, it seems the matter is quite serious. So what should we do now? They wouldn't really throw us out of the house, would they? Logically, a foster daughter wouldn't be as important as a biological one. Zheng Lingling's worries were not without reason. Zheng Lingling stood up from the sofa. No way. I need to find out exactly who Zheng Tingting is right now. She was determined to protect what was hers, and not let anyone take it away. Only by understanding the enemy's situation can we win the next battle. You're going out now? Sun Wu was somewhat surprised. As Zheng Lingling put on her coat and walked out, she said, I might be back very late, you go to sleep first. By the way, make a call to Xianjing's school later, and ask her to come back tomorrow. Okay. Sun Wu nodded. Zheng Lingling left in the middle of the night. Upstairs, Grandpa Zheng and Grandma Zheng were discussing how to hold the reunion. That night, some were joyful, some were worried. And some stayed awake all night. The Mo family. Upon hearing of this, Grandfather Mo and Grandmother Mo were both stunned. Sixth brother, is it true? Is your mother-in-law really Auntie Zheng's biological daughter? Grandmother Mo asked. Mo Qishan nodded. It's true. Grandmother Mo then said, no wonder I thought your mother-in-law looked familiar before. I even mentioned it to your father. Previously it was only a guess. Who could have imagined that Anai Tsuehua was indeed Mrs. Zheng's daughter? After speaking, Grandmother Mo continued. Since your mother-in-law is Auntie Zheng's daughter, you can't call her Auntie Zheng anymore. You should call her Grandma like Yang Yang. Grandfather Mo said. With this our generations have all moved down a notch. With Mo Qishan and Anai Yang together, they and Anai Tsuehua became peers, and Grandfather Zheng and Grandmother Zheng were one generation ahead of them. Grandmother Mo chuckled. Let the kids call their own, we will call our own. It's not mixed at all. After all these years, Aching has finally found Ting Ting. It's been a tough journey. Grandmother Mo was genuinely happy for Grandfather Zheng and Grandmother Zheng. She had been sisters with Grandmother Zheng for a lifetime, and she knew how hard her life had been. Now things are starting to turn around. After they finished talking about the Zheng family, Grandmother Mo looked at Mo Qishan and said, Sixth brother, you won't leave again after you get back this time, right? Mo Qishan took a sip of tea. Once I finish dealing with Yang Yang's family business, I'll have to take a trip to F country. Going to F country again? Grandmother Mo continued. Isn't our China good? Why do you always run to F country? You hardly stay at home all year round. Aren't you afraid that your wife will run off with someone else? Mo Qishan laughed. Don't worry, Yang Yang is not that kind of person. Grandmother Mo sighed. Sixth brother, in the future just stay at home honestly, don't go anywhere. We may not have many assets, but we can more than afford to keep you. Grandmother Mo was sincerely worried. Mo Qishan was already 29 this year, and still had nothing to his name, and a bad reputation to boot. Grandfather Mo was also worried. Anai Yang was getting better and better, and he feared that Mo Qishan would not be able to keep up. Your mother is right, you're also not young anymore, you should stop running around in the future, stay honest in Beijing. I'll let Baichuan get you a small position at the company, it's time to settle down. Upon hearing this, Mo Qishan rubbed his temples helplessly. Mom, Dad, I'm okay, I have my own business, I don't need Baichuan's help. Grandfather Mo knocked his pipe on the coffee table. We are your parents, would we look down on you? Fearing that she had hurt Mo Qishan's pride, Grandmother Mo quickly started appeasing him. Let's drop it, since the kid doesn't want Baichuan's help. Let's not bother Baichuan. Chapter 750. Recognize Family. _3. Old Master Mo sighed. Dad, Mom, I'm going to rest upstairs first, continued Mo Qishan. Go ahead. Old Madam Mo nodded. Wait a sec. Old Master Mo spoke up again. Mo Qishan turned his head. What's up, Dad? Take this. Old Master Mo handed Mo Qishan something. Looking at it, Mo Qishan saw it as a bank card. Dad, I'm not strapped for cash now. Mo Qishan returned the card to Old Master Mo. As Old Master Mo kept a straight face, he said, If I want you to keep it, you keep it. You've been with Yang Yang recently, don't scrimp when you're out. Spend when you should spend. Don't worry, we've enough money at home. Dad, I'm really not short of money. Mo Qishan placed the card back on the coffee table, and turned to head upstairs. Mo Qishan didn't have a job, nor did he have any savings, so how could it be possible that he wasn't short of money? Old Master Mo picked up the card intending to follow Mo Qishan, but he caught sight of Xiao Yingying in the corner of the living room, drinking water from a cup shed filled at the water cooler. Xiao Yingying had moved into the Mo family home about 4 months ago, and had never left. Seeing Xiao Yingying, Old Master Mo had a pretty good idea of what was happening. Mo Qishan was probably afraid of being ridiculed by Xiao Yingying, and was trying to hold on his last bit of dignity. The kid really had a rough. It was his oversight. Old Master Mo sighed. Holding the bank card, he slumped back onto the sofa. Xiao Yingying over here had a look of disdain on her face. How old was Mo Qixin? And he actually had the nerve to ask his family for money. She wasn't fooled by his claims of not being short of money or having his own business. She didn't believe a word of it. She was no longer the naive little girl she used to be. In fact, Mo Qixin's reason for doing this was simple. He wanted to attract her attention. He wanted her to fall in love with him. Wasn't this just typical of men? Even though they have a girlfriend, they still flirt around. Did they really think they could deceive her that easily? He was pathetic, thinking he could deceive her? In his dreams. Did he really think she was that naive individual businesswoman, Anai Yang? Did he think he could make her run around in circles like he did with Anai Yang? She was going to be the wife of Mr. Mog. The Mo family was a prestigious family. How did they end up with someone like Mo Qixin, a prodigal son? Such family misfortune. Xiao Yingying quickened her pace, walking ahead of Mo Qixin. She hoped that this could serve as a warning to Mo Qixin, that she had heard every word he had just said. Mo Qixin should not harbor any illusions about deceiving her. Xiao Yingying didn't even bother to take a second look at Mo Qixin. She walked past him haughtily. Zheng Lingling didn't get back home until 2 in the morning, and Sun Wu was still waiting for her. Why are you still up? Zheng Lingling was somewhat surprised. Am I not waiting for you? Said Sun Wu. Oh yes, how is your investigation going? With such a big thing happening, how could he fall asleep? Zheng Lingling took off her coat. I found out everything. Sun Wu impatiently asked. So, what's the real story of your little sister? Zheng Lingling laughed. She's just a country girl named Anai Tsuehua, even a divorcee, with 2 burdens at her side. A country girl? Hearing this, Sun Wu felt relieved. Countryside folks are naive and easy to deal with. In fact, upon learning that Anai Tsuehua was a country girl, Zheng Lingling also breathed a sigh of relief. Moreover, when Anai Tsuehua was in the country, she was married at 16 and knew not a word. She's illiterate. She scoffed. An illiterate girl isn't worthy of setting foot in the Zheng's house. Just wait and see. At the family reuniting ceremony, who knows what antics that country bumpkin will pull? Zheng Lingling squinted her eyes. It'll show that old hag exactly who is suitable to be her real daughter. What do you plan to do? Asked Sun Wu. Zheng Lingling grinned. Making a big, illiterate country girl embarrass herself is just the easiest thing in the world. Sun Wu nodded. You're right. In the blink of an eye, 3 days passed. These days, Old Master and Old Madam Zheng had been hard at work preparing for the family reuniting ceremony. Old Master Zheng had written numerous invitations, inviting all the relatives that had any connection with the Zhengs. Not only that, Old Master and Old Madam Zheng had also booked over 600 tables in Beijing's top 3 hotels. Enough for everyone. The Zheng's house was festively decorated and filled with joy. Watching all of these, Zheng Lingling was burning with jealousy inside. The love one gets for being a biological child is simply irreplaceable. Chapter 751. Recognize Family. _4. Even though Anai Tsuehua was just a country bumpkin who couldn't show her face in public, Venerable Mr. Zheng and Mrs. Zheng still liked her so much. Back in the day, when she and Sun Wu got married, the Zheng family didn't celebrate as grandly as they are now. It really is infuriating to compare oneself to others. Mom, do you think Grandma will really transfer half of our family's assets to her biological daughter? She overheard it clearly from outside the door. Split it in half. Zheng Lingling pulled the corners of her mouth. If you were her, would you split half of your assets with a stranger instead of leaving it all to your biological daughter? Mrs. Zheng's words were just for show. She had figured it out. There was not a single truth in this old hag's mouth. She had claimed that she had given up, that she would not search for her biological daughter any longer. Yet the moment she turned her back, she had found her biological daughter. Now they had even arranged a family reunion. Hearing this, Zheng Xianjing shook her head. No, she added. But we've been so good to her. That biological daughter of hers has been missing for who knows how many years, hasn't done anything. And you've been so devoted to our grandparents. How dare she come in and try to take our things? Because that country bumpkin is her own daughter, replied Zheng Lingling. I wonder if, after today's public humiliation, Mrs. Zheng will still like her biological daughter as much as before. Thinking of this, a glimmer of satisfaction crossed the depths of Zheng Lingling's eyes. Today was the family reunion, and guests began to arrive one after another at the Zheng residence. Everyone was looking forward to seeing the Zheng family's long-lost daughter, missing for 35 years, for the first time. Zheng Lingling and her daughter Zheng Xianjing stood at the entrance, warmly welcoming the guests. The more elegantly and graciously they behaved, the cruder and more vulgar Enai Tsuehua, the country bumpkin, would seem in contrast. Enai Tsuehua, herself a country farmer's wife, undoubtedly had 2 country bumpkin daughters. How could these 2 country bumpkin girls compare with Zheng Xianjing, who had been nurtured by wealth since childhood? Zheng Xianjing was a distinguished phoenix. They couldn't even match up to little sparrows. Lingling. Just then, a familiar voice sounded through the air. Zheng Lingling looked up and saw that it was the venerable Mr. and Mrs. Mo. Aunt Mo. Zheng Lingling greeted politely, just realizing that Mo Qishan had also come. What was Mo Qishan doing here? The Mo family wasn't aiming for Zheng Xianjing, right? Mo Qishan was 29 this year, a suitable age for marriage. However, the Mo family should understand, even if they considered it with their toenails, that Mo Qishan is not good enough for Zheng Xianjing. Mo Qishan doesn't even deserve to carry Zheng Xianjing's shoes. A toad lusting after swan meat. Distaste flickered in Zheng Lingling's eyes, as she smiled and ushered the Mo family into the house. Aunt Mo, Uncle Mo, please come in. Mrs. Mo said with a smile. Lingling, you'll have to stop calling me Aunt Mo soon. Why? Zheng Lingling asked. Mrs. Mo replied with a smile, because of difference in familial seniority. Technically, we're of the same generation. Your mother even outranks me. After all, her son was going to marry the granddaughter of Mrs. Zheng. The remark made Zheng Lingling feel a sudden jolt in her heart. Damn it. Could it be that the 2 old folks had already agreed to Mo Qishan's proposal for Zheng Xianjing? What's the meaning of this? Does this mean that since Zheng Xianjing isn't their biological granddaughter, she should be married to a wastrel? Why should it be so? How dare Mrs. Zheng bypass her and make this decision on behalf of Zheng Xianjing? She wouldn't accept it no matter what. Zheng Lingling's features almost contorted. Her smiling expression gradually faded. She didn't even want to bother with Mrs. Mo anymore. Noticing a shift in Zheng Lingling's demeanor, Mrs. Mo frowned slightly. Zheng Lingling always seemed pleasant in her memories. But today, Zheng Lingling came across as something of an ingrate. It was a great difficulty for Mrs. Zheng to find her biological daughter. Why was Zheng Lingling being such a sour face about it? Even if she was unhappy, she shouldn't show it. The venerable Mr. and Mrs. Zheng soon emerged to welcome the guests. Erwin. People certainly look fresher when they have good news. That day, the venerable Mr. and Mrs. Zheng were full of vigor, looking almost a decade younger. Aching, congratulations. Mrs. Mo said, smiling. Thank you. Mrs. Zheng beamed. Mrs. Mo then asked, by the way, where's Tingting? Chapter 752. Recognize family. _5. They haven't arrived yet. You all can come in first. Mrs. Zheng continued. Zheng Jun and I have consulted with someone to calculate the timing. They should be here promptly at 10:30 in the morning, which is just half an hour from now. Mrs. Mo teased. Aching, didn't you used to hate feudal superstitions? When did you start believing in this? When a person is alone, they can fear nothing and believe in nothing, utterly unrestrained. However, as soon as one has attachments, the fear starts creeping in. You love to tease people. Mrs. Zheng laughed. Mrs. Mo looked at Mrs. Zheng and sighed. Aching, it has been over 30 years since I last saw you laugh so freely. The smile remained on Mrs. Zheng's face. Isn't that the truth? In the blink of an eye, over 30 years have passed. Mrs. Mo looked at Mr. Zheng, feigning surprise. Zheng Jun, how have you managed to make time to come out of your mini skyscraper today? Aren't you tending to your beloved plants? Mr. Zheng chuckled awkwardly. The group of them, laughing and chatting, entered the house. Zheng Lingling, standing outside the door, felt the anger pressing down in her heart. She couldn't muster a smile for anyone she met. Lingling, what's the matter with you? This is a day of joy. Why are you wearing such a serious expression? A reproachful voice filled the air. Aunt Jiang. Seeing Dr. Jiang, The anger on Zheng Lingling's face lessened slightly. She pushed Zheng Xianjing, standing beside her. Xianjing, didn't you see your Jiang grandma has arrived? Hello, Grandma Jiang. Zheng Xianjing responded casually. Dr. Jiang's face was filled with affection. Good girl. Dr. Jiang said earnestly. Lingling, today is a joyful day for your family. What's with this long face you're pulling? If others who aren't aware of the situation see this, they might think you hate your soon-to-be sister. If your mother hears about this, what will she think? Problems can be sorted out after the reunion ceremony today. You're a good child. You can't embarrass your parents. These words from Dr. Jiang seemed to awaken Zheng Lingling, who promptly responded. Yes, Aunt Jiang, I understand. Having said that, a smile returned to her face. Dr. Jiang nodded in satisfaction. Lingling, as long as you understand. Has your sister arrived? Not yet. Zheng Lingling shook her head. Oh. Dr. Jiang glanced at the guests coming and going. Then I'll go in first. Other than Zheng Lingling, Zheng Sheng and Zheng Gao, the two brothers, were also having trouble addressing their feelings about Zheng Tingting's return. With nobody to succeed Mr. Zheng by default, the duo would inherit the family fortune. But now, Zheng Tingting has actually returned. Zheng Tingting is the one with the real Zheng family bloodline. From the moment the two brothers walked in the door with their families, their faces were long. Zheng Lingling enthusiastically welcomed them. Uncle 2, Aunt 2, Uncle 3, Aunt 3, please come inside. Yingyuang Mei, I barely recognized you two after such a long time. Truly, a girl can change a lot when she grows up. You're both more beautiful than ever. Zheng Yingyue and Zheng Yingmei are Zheng Sheng's second and third daughters, respectively. Zheng Gao only has one son, Zheng Mingming. Everyone loves flattery hearing it. Zheng Yingyue and Zheng Yingmei beamed. Thank you for the compliment, cousin. But Zheng Sheng and Zheng Gao were unable to muster a smile. With solemn expressions they went into the house. Shortly after, smiles returned to their faces. Because they heard some news. This niece they've never met before is a country bumpkin, she can't even read. Even if Mrs. Zheng and Mr. Zheng were to hand her all their assets, she probably won't be able to hold on to them. When that time comes, the Zheng family fortune will naturally return to its rightful owners. Maybe this country girl will even embarrass herself later. Soon after, Mrs. Shengguan also arrived. Zheng Lingling only had information on Enai Tsuehua, and had no knowledge of the connection between Enai Tsuehua and Shengguan de Hui. Seeing Mrs. Shengguan, a trace of surprise flashed in Zheng Lingling's eyes. The Shengguan family usually doesn't interact much with the Zheng family. How did Mrs. Shengguan also end up here? It appears that these two resilient old folks are really going to great lengths for their biological daughter. 15 minutes left till 10:30. Mr. and Mrs. Zheng, Mr. and Mrs. Mo, and Mrs. Shengguan all stood by the door. The servants were standing by with firecrackers and fireworks, ready to celebrate the special occasion. Chapter 753. Recognize Family. _6. Zheng Lingling, Sun Wu, and Zheng Xianjing stood next to Mrs. Zheng, all their eyes looking in the same direction not too far away. Zheng Xianjing couldn't wait to see those country bumpkins. She was even more hoping that these country bumpkins would make fools of themselves. Perhaps those country bumpkins would not even be able to speak standard Mandarin. Thinking about this, Zheng Xianjing's eyes were filled with disdain. At this moment, two black cars slowly appeared in everyone's sight. Mrs. Zheng tightly held Mr. Zheng's hand, excitedly said, "They're coming! They're coming!" Bang bang bang. The sound of firecrackers and fireworks echoed in the air. The black cars stopped one after another. The servants immediately ran over to open the car doors. A couple came out of the first car. The woman had an exquisite appearance, making it difficult to tell her real age. The man next to her was tall, wearing glasses emitting a scholarly fragrance, and holding a child about 2 to 3 years old in his arms. This couple is Shengguan de Hui. This was Shengguan de Hui, but who was the woman standing next to him? This was clearly the Zheng family's reunion event. What was Shengguan de Hui doing here? For a moment, Zheng Lingling was a bit taken aback. The second car brought out 2 men and 2 women. Among them 3 were young people, and a middle-aged woman, who looked to be in her 40s or 50s. Zhang Xianjing recognized two of them as Shangguan Su and Shangguan Shi. The person in the middle with outstanding looks and cool temperament was unmistakably An Yang. An Yang? Why was she here too? She didn't recognize the middle-aged woman. Each one of these people was extraordinary. Not one resembled the rural folks she had imagined in her mind. What on earth was happening? By the time the mother and daughter could react, Mr. and Mrs. Zheng were already introducing them to everyone. Lingling, Sunwu, this is your sister Tingting, this is your brother-in-law, Shangguan Dehui, and this is Tingting's sworn sister Chenggui. You must thank Chenggui who has taken care of your sister over these past 2 years in Beijing. Initially, Anai Chenggui didn't plan on coming, but Anai Tsuehua insisted that she should. Anai Tsuehua is not an ungrateful person. Since she decided to treat Anai Chenggui as her sister, she would treat her as sister for the rest of her life. Hearing this, Zheng Lingling was stunned. Zheng Lingling had expected to see a coarse and ugly rural woman, but reality had given her a hard slap on the face. The country bumpkin in her eyes turned out to be Shangguan Dihui's wife. And she was so beautiful. Sister Tingting, brother-in-law, and Sister Chenggui, nice to meet you. Zheng Lingling tried to calm down and greeted them with a smile. Anai Tsuehua said with a smile, Sister Lingling, thank you and brother-in-law for taking care of Mom all these years. You have worked hard. Taking care of Mom is my responsibility, Sister Tingting, you're too polite. Is this Anai Tsuehua already itching to assert her authority? At that moment, Zheng Lingling narrowed her eyes, as if she had suddenly remembered something. That's right. She seemed to have seen Anai Tsuehua before. It was 2 years ago during the New Year. The memories in Zheng Lingling's mind became clearer and clearer. No wonder when she first laid eyes on Anai Tsuehua and her daughter, she had a vague sense of impending crisis. 2 years ago, when Anai Tsuehua had just arrived in Beijing, she exuded a certain shabbiness that betrayed her humble origins. That must have been why Zheng Lingling didn't give her any importance. Unexpectedly, in the span of 2 years, there had been such a tremendous change in Anai Tsuehua. If she had known, she wouldn't have allowed Anai Tsuehua the chance to stay in Beijing. She was full of regret. Zheng Lingling looked at the radiant Anai Tsuehua. Her regret so deep it was as if her intestines were turning green. Anai Chenggui watched Zheng Lingling, his brows furrowed subtly. Zheng Lingling seemed enthusiastic, but her words were far from cordial. It appeared he needed to warn Anai Tsuehua. Madame Zheng then introduced Zheng Xianjing to everyone. Xianjing, this is your oldest cousin, Xiaoxiu. This is your cousin Xiaoxi. This is your second cousin Yang. And this little one in my arms is your youngest cousin Yunyun. Zheng Xianjing never expected that Anai Yang would turn out to be her cousin. Even more surprising was the fact that Anai Yang's mother was Madame Zheng's long-lost daughter. What right did a small-time trader like Anai Yang have to be her cousin? Zheng Xianjing was extremely uncomfortable, but she still put on a polite smile and greeted everyone. Cousin, second cousin, little cousin. Anai Yang, who had previously engaged with Zheng Xianjing a few times, knew that Zheng Xianjing wasn't as gentle and kind as she appeared, smiling said, Cousin, we meet again. Shangguan, she exclaimed in surprise. Yang, you've met Xianjing before? Anai Yang nodded, a few times. Shangguan, she replied. That really is fate. Anai Yang's mouth teased into a modest smile. Indeed, it is fate. Zheng Xianjing clenched her hands tightly hidden inside her sleeves. Was Anai Yang deliberately provoking her? Just then, Madame Zheng led Emo-Qishan over. Look at my forgetful brain. There's one more person I need to introduce. Lingling, this is Yang Yang's boyfriend. Emo-Qishan stood next to Anai Yang, politely greeting everyone. Initially, he and Zheng Lingling were of the same generation, but now he was a generation lower, and had to call Zheng Lingling auntie. Upon hearing this, half of the anger that Zheng Lingling had suppressed in her heart instantly vanished. So this useless Emo-Qishan was Anai Yang's boyfriend. A broken donkey covered in a straw mat also needs a good saddle, it seems. Hearing this, scorn flashed in Zheng Xianjing's eyes. So what if Anai Yang was beautiful? In the end, Shed still ended up with that useless Emo-Qishan. The group then entered the hall. The Zheng family's relatives all gathered around. They were all extremely curious about what Madame Zheng's daughter, who had been missing for over 30 years, looked like. They were especially intrigued upon hearing that Zhang Tingting had grown up in the countryside and was illiterate. Yet, the family before them didn't look like they were from the countryside at all. Yang followed behind Madame Zhang, quickly recognizing all her great aunts and uncles. When everyone learned that Mo Qixin was Yang's boyfriend, they had complicated expressions in their eyes. But Yang didn't mind at all, and neither did Mo Qixin. "Mom, what are we going to do now?" Zhang Xianjing went to Zhang Lingling's side and asked in a low voice. They were originally waiting to see Cuihua make a fool of herself in front of everyone. But Cuihua's elegance, poise, and outstanding demeanor made it impossible for them to find fault with her. Zhang Lingling patted Zhang Xianjing's hand and reassured her in a whisper. Even if a bumpkin is wrapped in a bowtie skin, no matter how well she behaves, she is still an illiterate bumpkin inside. Don't worry, the good show is yet to begin. Chapter 754. Self-inflicted _1 Zhang Xianjing watched Yang, who was surrounded by the crowd, a strong tint of jealousy flashing in her eyes. She just couldn't keep it down. Yang was too exceptional. She was merely wearing a plain white cheongsam with a light purple coat draped over it, but she still managed to dazzle everyone. Zhang Xianjing had even heard such comments. The Zhang family's own granddaughter is really different. Even though she grew up in the countryside, her temperament is still so good. Can anyone compare to the real family? Exactly. This legitimate Zhang family's Missy is really beautiful. It seems that the weather in Sijio City is going to change again. Everyone was focused on Cuihua and her daughter Yang, who more noticed the Zhang family's adopted daughters, Zhang Lingling and Zhang Xianjing. The more Zhang Xianjing listened, the uneasy she felt. It was unbearable. On the first day Yang returned, she stole all her limelight. If this continued, how could she ever have a future in the Zhang family? Despicable woman. Despicable woman. After all, she was the only granddaughter of the Zhang family. Xianjing, don't worry. Zhang Lingling took Zhang Xianjing's hand. Mother won't let them steal what belongs to us. No matter if it's Yang or Cuihua, they are not qualified to compete with you. They are merely stepping stones for you. Yes. Zhang Xianjing nodded, feeling a bit better. Lingling. Dr. Jiang appeared behind Zhang Lingling unknowingly. Aunt Jiang. Zhang Lingling quickly composed herself. Dr. Jiang looked at the vibrant Mrs. Zhang in the distance and asked, "The medicine I gave you last time, have you been giving it to your mother these days?" "I have." Zhang Lingling nodded. "I gave it to her personally." Dr. Jiang smiled and said, "Well then the medicine is really effective, your mother seems much better." Zhang Lingling turned her gaze to Mrs. Zhang. Among the crowd, Mrs. Zhang was laughing and chatting with everyone, without even panting. Everyone knew that previously Mrs. Zhang had a persistent cough, which would flare up just from speaking a single sentence. These days, Mrs. Zhang's condition has shown unbelievable improvement. Zhang Lingling's eyes narrowed, yet she still smiled and said, "Thanks to Aunt Jiang's remarkable medical skills. Otherwise, my mother wouldn't have recovered so quickly." Dr. Jiang modestly laughed. Halfway into the banquet, it was time for the dance session. The waltz music flowed gently around the hall. Old Mrs. Zhang smiled and said, "You youngsters go dance, I'm too old to join the fun." Zhang Lingling chuckled as she approached Mrs. Zhang. "Mother, you are wrong. Being the star of tonight, Tingting should be the one to dance the opening dance." Cuihua had grown up in the countryside and only married Shangguan Dehui 3 months ago. Asking Cuihua to perform the opening dance was Zhang Lingling's devious plan to make her look foolish. As an uncultured country woman with no place in high society, Cuihua would surely make a spectacle of herself on the dance floor. "Since sister is so kind, we won't refuse." Shangguan Dehui led Cuihua to the center of the dance floor. As the music played, they began to dance. Not only could Cuihua dance, but also she danced very elegantly. One after another, applause echoed around them. Thunderous. Watching Cuihua in disbelief, Zhang Lingling's face twisted almost beyond recognition. She could actually dance. A country woman could actually dance. "Yang, shall we dance too?" Mo Qixin extended his hand towards Yang. "Sure." Yang took off her coat and placed her hand in Mo Qixin's. With beautiful, elegant dancing steps. The graceful waist of hers seemed to be made of willow, boneless and delicate. Such a dance performance, even professional dancers couldn't compare. This beautiful dance, contrasted with the cheongsam, was unique throughout the city. That woman in the cheongsam is old Mrs. Zheng's biological granddaughter, right? Yes, it's her. Oh my gosh, she is amazing. She's way prettier than Zheng Xianjing. Listening to these words, Zheng Xianjing squeezed her fists and trembled in rage. Why Niyang? Why could she take away all her glory? Mother, didn't you say we could watch them make a fool of themselves? Zheng Xianjing approached Zheng Lingling, grinding her teeth as she spoke. Zheng Lingling was also extremely upset, her face alternating between green and white. How was she to know that Enai Tsuehua could actually dance? Could it be taught by Shengguan Dehui? Did she just lose what she tried to steal? Chapter 755, Self-Inflicted _2. Zheng Lingling could not help but despise herself for letting Enai Tsuehua open the dance floor. Mom, what should we do now? Zheng Xianjing then asked. With such a grand kinship identification party held today, where could their family of 3 ever stand in the future? Don't act rashly, just watch for changes. Zheng Lingling suppressed the anger in her heart. Having struggled for so many years in the upper class, Zheng Lingling certainly knew that she couldn't be too impulsive at such a time. Sometimes being too impulsive could not only fail to achieve one's goal, but also bring trouble to oneself. Zheng Xianjing bit her lip. Are we just going to let them take center stage? She simply found it unbearable. Usually, when the Zheng family hosted banquets, many eligible bachelors would invite her to dance, and then take the opportunity to strike up a conversation. But today, not a single person came over to invite her to dance. Not to mention striking up a conversation. With Enai Yang, the legitimate granddaughter of the Zheng family present, what did she, the daughter of an adopted daughter, amount to? Zheng Xianjing grew increasingly indignant. She wanted to smash the wine glass she was holding. At this moment, Enai Yang passed by her. The person accompanying Enai Yang was a well-known socialite from Beijing. Back when she was the only granddaughter of the Zheng family, at every Zheng family banquet, this woman would hover after her. But in the blink of an eye, her object of flattery had turned into Enai Yang. Zheng Xianjing, glancing at the blooming smile on Enai Yang's face, squinted. Enai Yang was wearing a cheongsam and a pair of silver-white high heels. If she fell by accident, her position would definitely be very ungraceful. Zheng Xianjing cornered her lips, holding her wine glass, and quietly stretched out her right foot. Enai Yang seemed not to see Zheng Xianjing's small action. Her eyebrows and eyes as usual. While talking to the socialite next to her, she kept walking forward. At this moment, thud. Zheng Xianjing stumbled and fell flat on the ground, her red wine spilling all over the floor. The previously lively banquet hall quieted down. Everyone's eyes were looking in this direction. A banquet was a solemn occasion. Everyone's every word and action were extremely careful. They cared greatly about their image. There was never someone like Zheng Xianjing, who couldn't even walk properly. Who is that person who fell? Today there are those who are pleased and those who are downtrodden. She is the daughter of the Zheng family's adopted daughter. In public, really quite embarrassing. Understand. Her heart must be unpleasant right now. It's normal for her to lose her cool. Alas, there really is a difference between one's own and not one's own. The voices of the crowd drilled into Zheng Xianjing's ears incessantly. She lay on the ground, her hands tightly gripping the carpet, her knuckles already turning slightly white. Clearly, the one who should be embarrassed was Enai Yang, so why had she become the one lying on the ground? Just then, a fair and graceful hand stretched out in front of Zheng Xianjing. The nails were neatly trimmed, translucent with a faint hint of pink. They looked very nice. Sister Xianjing, how could you be so careless? Get up quickly. Zheng Xianjing looked up and caught sight of a face as white as jade. It was Enai Yang. The person who had just made her stumble and made a fool of herself was surely Enai Yang. Enai Yang, this little bitch. What was she doing now? Was she demonstrating her power to her? Zheng Xianjing's face turned whiter and whiter as she stared at Enai Yang. Sister Xianjing, what's wrong? Are you not feeling well? A faint smile spread across Enai Yang's face. her eyes shimmering with concern. This stirred up a lot of speculation among the people around them. Zheng's grandmother's attention was quickly drawn to the anomaly here. At this moment, Zheng Xianjing had no choice but to swallow her pride. She handed her hand to Enai Yang. "Thank you for your concern, little sister. I'm fine." "That's good." Enai Yang helped Zheng Xianjing up, her tone indifferent. "Sister Xianjing, be careful when you walk in the future. You were lucky today. If one day you happen to fall onto a chair or wall, you might not be so fortunate." That last line was both a hit and a warning. After finishing speaking, Enai Yang turned around and left. Zheng Xianjing looked up at Enai Yang's retreating figure. She knew that all of this was surely Enai Yang's doing. It was Enai Yang who made her look bad. "Xianjing, what was that all about just now?" Zheng Lingling walked over from the other side, her eyebrows and eyes filled with reproach. "At such an important occasion, how could you lose your poise like that?" She had originally arranged for Zheng Xianjing to shine today. Chapter 756, Self-inflicted_3. Let everyone see that although Zheng Xianjing isn't of the Zheng family bloodline, she resembles the Zheng family more than the real blood members. Unexpectedly, in the blink of an eye, Zheng Xianjing has been made such a big fool. It's Enai Yang's fault. It's all that little bitch. Zheng Xianjing's eyes turned red in grievance. Zheng Lingling slightly furrowed her brows. Her eyes shifted from blame to heartache. I didn't expect Enai Yang to be so arrogant. It was just her first day back, and she dared to openly bully Zheng Xianjing. "Mom, you have to get revenge for me," Zheng Xianjing said. Zheng Lingling patted Zheng Xianjing's hand. "Don't worry, there's plenty of time in the future. I'll first get you changed into a fresh set of clothes." Zheng Xianjing nodded. The people attending today's banquet were all prestigious figures in Beijing. Have you heard? Mr. Du from the south came to our Beijing not long ago." "Mr. Du? Which Mr. Du?" "From the way you're talking, how many people are worthy of being called Mr. Du?" After hearing that, the person gasped. "Is it Mr. Du from the 10 Miles Casino?" "Exactly. The master who rules the 10 Miles Casino." When Zheng Xianjing walked out after changing her clothes, she heard this conversation. She instinctively slowed down her steps. She also knew a bit about the Mr. Du from the 10 Miles Casino. She heard about him when she was sitting in the tea house, listening to the storytelling. Mr. Du was indeed a big shot who had risen from a sea of blood and carnage. It was said that he was over 30 this year, without a wife or children, although he did have 2 concubines. In ancient times, having a concubine also meant having a mistress. Now the term concubine no longer exists in China. However, Mr. Du had long renounced his Chinese citizenship, so the monogamy law of China could not restrain him. Yet, such a man could become the head honcho of the 10 Miles Casino. There were many legends about Mr. Du, but few people had actually seen him. Zheng Xianjing didn't expect that Mr. Du would come to Beijing. If she had the chance to get close to him, it would certainly catch everyone's attention. Zheng Xianjing was lost in her thoughts. Although she wholeheartedly wanted to marry Mr. Mog, it wouldn't affect her mingling with other big shots. More so, if it's a major figure like Mr. Du. If she was able to marry Mr. Mog and make Mr. Du respect her, becoming a servant under her skirt, would anyone in Beijing still dare to look down on her? She was so beautiful. As long as she was given a chance to get close to Mr. Du, she could definitely catch his attention. Thinking this, Zheng Xianjing's steps became light and fluttery. After the banquet ended, Enai Tsuehua, Enai Yang and their group didn't leave, but stayed at the Zheng family's house. The old madam wanted them to stay for a while. She had been separated from Enai Tsuehua and her daughter for so many years, and now that they had finally recognized each other, it was of course time to reconnect. The old madam asked a servant to bring Zheng Suyu down from upstairs. "Ting Ting, this is your Aunt Suyu." The old madam pulled on Zheng Suyu's hand, tears in her eyes. "Suyu, Ting Ting has come back." Zheng Suyu laughed. Ting Ting, Ting Ting. "What's up with Aunt?" Seeing that Zheng Suyu's expression was a bit off, Enai Tsuehua turned her head to look at the old madam. The old madam sighed. "Your aunt received a shock many years ago, and her mental state hasn't been clear ever since." Enai Tsuehua nodded. Shangguan Dahui looked at Zheng Suyu, his eyes full of disbelief. Years ago, when he was still a child, he had seen Zhang Suyu a few times. At that time, Zhang Suyu was young and promising, a famous talent. She was always surrounded by a group of scholars. She was really high profile and was a legend in their circle. Who would have thought that things change over time? The talented woman of decades ago had now become like this. Now, Zhang Suyu was disheveled, skinny, and had a vacant look in her eyes, her past glory nowhere to be seen. If not for seeing it with his own eyes, who would believe that this woman was once the highly talented figure of the past? Who knows what Zhang Suyu had really been through? Shangguan Dihui's eyes were full of pity. The old madam said again, Yang Yang Xiaoxi Xiaoxiu, come over here and say hello to your great-aunt. At her words, Anai Yang, Shangguan Shi and Shangguan Su came over. The three of them politely greeted their great-aunt. Zhang Suyu began spinning excitedly. Ha! I'm a great-aunt. I'm a great-aunt. The great-aunt is here. Suddenly, her face turned pale, as if she had seen something terrifying. She screamed in horror. Ah! A ghost. A ghost is coming to kill me. Please don't kill me. Let me go. Chapter 757 Self-inflicted_4. Ah! Let go of me. Let me go. Zhang Suyu started running around the living room, as if something was really chasing her from behind. The furnishings in the room were knocked about by her, falling to the ground with a clatter. It was Shangguan Zai's first time encountering such a patient, and she was so scared that she hid behind Shangguan Su. Zhang Suyu in this state was indeed somewhat frightening. Little Anai Yin stopped playing with his toys and ran to Shangguan Dahui, asking him for a hug. Old Mrs. Zhang hurriedly said to a servant, Mama Wu, quickly bring Suyu's sedative. We don't want her to scare the children. Zhang Suyu's condition would fluctuate, sometimes failing to recognize even her own family during her fits, at times even resorting to violence. This was also why old Mrs. Zhang did not let her attend the banquet today. Mama Wu quickly went upstairs to get the medicine. Zhang Xianjing leaned against the railing on the third floor, watching the scene unfold below with a look of anticipation and excitement. Let the chaos ensue. I hope Zhang Suyu will lose her mind and kill everyone downstairs. Just then, Anai Yang looked up and suddenly made eye contact with Zhang Xianjing upstairs. Their eyes met. Hers were bright, yet wild. Zhang Xianjing felt inexplicably flustered and hastily looked away. Anai Yang narrowed her eyes slightly, a thought flickering in the depths. Zhang Xianjing. What was she panicking about? Just then, a pair of hands tightly clamped onto Anai Yang's shoulders, violently shaking her. You're a ghost. You're a ghost. I'm going to kill you. Everyone in the room was startled by Zhang Suyu's action. However, looking at Anai Yang, there was no trace of panic in her face. She grabbed Zhang Suyu's wrist with one hand, and with the other took a golden needle from her acupuncture bag, and gently pricked Zhang Suyu's Laogong acupoint. Madam, please calm down. The next second, Zhang Suyu indeed quieted down. Anai Yang sat Zhang Suyu down on the sofa and asked, Granny Zhang's illness is acquired, right? Right. Old Mrs. Zhang nodded. Old Master Zhang suddenly thought of Anai Yang's impressive medical skills and asked, Yang, do you believe you can help Granny Zhang regain her sanity? Anai Yang shook her head. In her previous life, she hadn't studied mental illnesses, but she knew for certain that her master would have a solution. Anai Yang squinted, thinking about when she could visit her master. In this life, her senior brother had not met an ill fate, and her master and his wife must be living happily. Old Master Zhang then asked, So how did you calm Granny Zhang down? Just a moment ago, Zhang Suyu was terribly agitated, and the next she quieted down. Even with regular medicine, the effect wouldn't be so immediate. Anai Yang held up Zhang Suyu's right hand. This is the Laogong acupoint. Inserting a golden needle into this point has a calming effect. Since ancient times, the Laogong acupoint has been known to medical experts as a crucial point for treating mental and heart diseases. Acupuncture on it could alleviate conditions such as depression, irritability, and nervous breakdowns. The hope in old Master Zhang's eyes dimmed. So that's how it is. Anai Yang added, Grandpa, don't worry. Since Granny Zhang's disease is acquired, there must surely be a cure. Old Master Zhang nodded. Just then, Zheng Lingling came down from upstairs, laughing as she said, Children, I have prepared your rooms, come with me. Shang Guanxi and Shang Guansu did not originally intend to stay at the Zheng family's house. But today was the first day that Enai Tsuehua had returned to her ancestry. If they didn't stay over even for a night, it might invite unnecessary gossip from outsiders, so they decided to stay. Thank you, Auntie. Enai Yang politely thanked them. The three of them followed Zheng Lingling upstairs. The room of Enai Tsuehua was personally prepared by old Mrs. Zheng at the top floor where the lighting was the best. The room was always reserved for Enai Tsuehua. In the evening, Enai Yang lay in bed, unable to sleep despite tossing and turning. Seemingly peaceful on the surface, the Zheng family concealed a crisis within. For example, the illness of old master and old Mrs. Zheng. Why were they chronically ill? Why were toxins present in their bodies? Also, Zheng Suyu. What led to Suyu's madness? Was there something hidden beneath all this? With all these thoughts and the unfamiliarity of the bed, she ended up spending the whole night without sleep. Early the next morning, Enai Yang got out of bed. Although she had not slept well all night, her face did not show the slightest sign of fatigue. Chapter 758, Self-inflicted_5. Wearing a simple cheongsam paired with an overcoat, her hair cascaded down her back, with a clip of the same color as the cheongsam holding back a strand at her ear. She was a sight to behold. Yang is up, Zheng Lingling, who was preparing breakfast, warmly greeted Enai Yan as she came in. She showed no traces of dislike for Enai Yang. Her eyebrows were brimming with affection. Enai Yang greeted her cheerfully. Good morning, Auntie. Good morning, Zheng Lingling chuckled. Not only are you a beauty, but your words are also as sweet as honey. Unlike our Xianjing, who's a bit aloof. She's not particularly good-looking and isn't quite the charmer either. Her introverted demeanor is really baffling. With her silver tongue, Zheng Lingling could make the dead come alive and make the living dance to her tunes, leaving them utterly confused. If the person in front of her wasn't Enai Yang, they would have surely dropped all their defenses. Enai Yang lightly hooked the corner of her mouth, her dimples barely visible. Auntie, you're being too modest about Sister Xianjing. She's quite an incredible person as well. Zheng Lingling narrowed her eyes. Enai Yang was indeed no easy target. Ordinary teenagers hearing such pleasant words would have been completely disoriented. But not Enai Yang. She managed just fine. Soon, Shang Guansu and Shang Guanxi got up as well. From Shang Guanzu's perspective, he could see Enai Yang's profile. Sitting at the dining table, she wasn't adopting the poised posture that most young ladies from big families did. Instead, she sat with her left leg crossed over her right, exuding casual confidence. Her cheongsam had been amended, with a slit that wasn't too high, revealing a graceful calf that was dazzlingly white. Looking up, there was her uniquely delicate face. The shadows cast by her curled eyelashes on her nose bridge were fan-like. Her lips were red, echoing the clip by her ear. Such a person would attract attention wherever she went. Yang, why did you get up so early? Shang Guanxi skipped over and sat next to Enai Yan. Shang Guansu looked away distastefully. Enai Yang laughed. It's not that early, you two are up to, aren't you? Shang Guanxi giggled. Well, we have work, but you don't. As she spoke, she noticed Zheng Lingling emerging from the kitchen and quickly greeted her. Good morning, Auntie. Zheng Lingling smiled. Oh, Xiaoxi and Xiaoxu, you're both up. How did you sleep last night? Shang Guanxi replied. Thank you for your concern, Auntie. We slept really well. Soon, the elders Zheng and his wife, Enai Tsuehua, and Shang Guandehui joined them for breakfast. It was a full house at the Zheng family's dining table. It was the first time that the dining room was filled with so many people. The sight was overwhelming for the elderly Zhengs. They had been waiting for such a family reunion for many years. Now death would leave nothing to be regretted. Halfway through the meal, Mrs. Zheng finally noticed Zheng Xianjing's absence and asked, Lingling, where is Xianjing? Zheng Lingling replied, I have no idea where that child is. She vanished early this morning, probably off somewhere to have fun. Mom, you needn't worry about her. Even though Zheng Lingling was smiling on the outside, inside, she was cursing the old lady. You old hag, only realizing Zheng Xianjing is missing now? Why couldn't you have waited until everyone finished eating before mentioning it? Just then, a noise was heard from outside the door. Zheng Lingling looked up to see Zheng Xianjing walk in. With a frown, Zheng Lingling scolded. Xianjing, where have you been all this time? Didn't you know we were all eating? You have no manners. Zheng Xianjing wasn't alone. She was supporting a smiling Zheng Suyu. Looking a bit wronged, Xianjing replied, Mother, when I got up this morning, I saw Grandma Suyu sitting alone on the couch. I decided to take her out for a walk. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be late. Old Mrs. Zheng stood up. Xianjing, you're a good girl. Quickly bring your grandma over for breakfast. Lingling, how can you scold the child like this? She was just being filial. Zheng Xianjing had always been kind-hearted and compassionate since she was a child. Zheng Xianjing led Zheng Suyu to sit at the table side. These days, Zheng Suyu couldn't eat on her own and needed assistance. Chapter 759 Self-inflicted_6. Zheng Xianjing took the bowl and chopsticks from the servant's hand. Let me feed Aunt Suyu. Zheng Suyu was restless while eating, often spraying food all over the person feeding her. In just a few minutes, Zheng Xianjing was sprayed twice. Fun. Fun. So much fun. Zheng Suyu clapped her hands joyfully. Zheng Xianjing didn't get angry. She calmly wiped the leftovers off her face with a handkerchief. Her lips still held a smile, and she kindly said, Aunt Suyu, you mustn't be naughty, we have to eat properly. Who else could tolerate such behavior from Zheng Suyu? Seeing Zheng Xianjing being so understanding, both the Zheng family's patriarch and matriarch were very reassured. Zheng Lingling unintentionally exchanged glances with Zheng Xianjing, and both saw the satisfaction in the other's eyes. Anai Yang took a sip of milk, her gaze sweeping over everyone unnoticed. Is Zheng Xianjing really that kind? From what she knew of Zheng Xianjing, unless the sun rises from the west, Zheng Xianjing would certainly not be a person of goodwill. The Zheng family's water was too deep. She had to probe carefully to ensure that her grandparents could live their final years in peace. After breakfast was over, everyone began to go about their business. Shangguan Su and Shangguan Shi went to work. Before they left, they informed the matriarch that they would not be coming the next evening. Firstly, because it was inconvenient due to work, and secondly, there was a generational gap between them and the matriarch. Moreover, their paternal grandmother was still alive. How would it look if they always stayed at the Zheng family's house? Anai Yang left the house with Shangguan Su and Shangguan Shi. Shangguan Su asked, Yang, where are you going? I can drive you there. Anai Yang replied, No need, I will ride my bike. I have several places to go this afternoon. It would be inconvenient if you were to drive me. All right then, just be careful on the way. Shangguan Su instructed her. Okay. Anai Yang nodded. At that moment, the matriarch came out from inside. Yang, where are you going? Our family might lack other things, but we have plenty of cars. I can assign a driver to you and have them take you there. Upon hearing this, Zheng Lingling's face was full of disbelief. What? This old hag actually wanted to assign a driver to Anai Yang. She had served this old hag in the Zheng family for so many years, and the old hag had never thought of assigning a driver to Zheng Xianjing. What did she mean by this now? Was she deliberately trying to embarrass her? Anger was seething up inside Zheng Lingling, but she could not vent it out. Anai Yang smiled and said, No need, Grandma, I prefer to ride my bike. She preferred bicycles over cars. Anai Yang was someone who was immensely nostalgic. This bicycle had been with her since she started her business 2 years ago. She couldn't bear to retire it. With Anai Yang's current financial status, if she wanted to switch to a car, she wouldn't have to consider it at all. She could easily afford not just 1, but 10 cars without batting an eyelid. Anai Yang was the type who silently amassed wealth. Let me assign a driver for you then. Riding a bike requires pedaling. It's so tiring, the matriarch insisted. Anai Yang replied, Not at all. I have to leave now, Grandma, bye. The matriarch helplessly laughed. This child. Shangguan Dehui didn't have class today. He had already discussed with Anai Tsuehua the night before about bringing the Zheng family patriarch and matriarch out for fun today. Throughout these years, the elderly couple had been continually searching for Anai Tsuehua, without taking the time to enjoy themselves. Anai Tsuehua said, Why don't you come with us, Lingling? Sure. Zheng Lingling nodded. It was an important occasion. Of course she would go. What if, in her absence, the old Master Zheng and Madame Zheng handed all the Zheng family's property over to Enai Cuehua? She had to closely watch Mr. Zheng and Mrs. Zheng at all times. Now it was already April. The sunshine was warm. Both sides of the road were lined with cherry trees, which were just blooming right now. The beautiful pink blossoms were a sight to behold from afar. Enai Yang was cycling down the road. The gentle breeze stirred up the pink cherry blossoms, creating a flurry of petals. Petals fell into her hair, onto her shoulders, and brushed past her cheeks, causing her to instinctively stretch her arms wide. Enai Yang had good control of her bike. Even with her arms outstretched, she cycled steadily. From afar, she exhibited a vibrant sense of beauty and skill. A black car whisked past her. Just as the black car drove by, a figure dashed across from the other side of the road. Enai Yang quickly braked and jumped off the bike. Are you okay, sis? The girl appeared 16 or 17 years old, her face smeared with a layer of dark dust, making it hard to see her actual features. However, her giant sparkling eyes lit up her face. Although it was already April, she was still wearing a thick cotton-padded jacket with floral patterns. The girl was about to say something when a pallid woman rushed from the side, grabbed her arm and started running. Xiaoyan, let's go, we're running out of time. Wu Yanyan had no time to respond and hurriedly followed her mother. The mother and daughter ran all the way to stop in front of a large hotel. The mother's name was Yan Erju. As she ran, Yan Erju instructed Wu Yanyan. Xiaoyan, remember to serve yourself plenty of meat and vegetables. Aim for things like roast chicken and pork knuckle. Your grandma hasn't tasted meat for a long time. Wu Yanyan nodded. Okay, Mom. I understand. Starting yesterday, the hotel began offering a buffet service, with an abundance of food. Many who had difficulty getting a good meal, or were financially strained, would come to eat at this buffet. Not only could they eat their fill, but they could also take some home. The banquet was rumored to have been sponsored by a wealthy family celebrating the return of their long-lost daughter. This indeed was a good deed. Besides this mother and daughter, many others came from afar, making the hotel lobby extremely crowded. Meanwhile in the car, a man who had been calmly reading the newspaper suddenly put it down and looked back. However, due to the high speed of the car, he could no longer see the road behind clearly. Mr. Du, what are you looking at? Wang Ziki, the driver, looked back and asked. Nothing. Mr. Du picked up the newspaper again, asking, how is the investigation going? Wang Ziki, of course, knew what Mr. Du was referring to and replied, we have some leads now. Mr. Du's expression changed. When can we get a definitive answer? He never cared about the process in his work, only the results. We need to confirm a few more things. Wang Ziki responded. Wang Ziki knew Mr. Du well. If he didn't have any leads by now, Mr. Du would not be sitting back and reading the paper so tranquilly. Mr. Du nodded. All right, I'm waiting for the results. Wang Ziki continued. The fourth lady called yesterday. Mr. Du remained silent. Observing Mr. Du's expression, Wang Ziki added. After you cut off all her funding, she's been living poorly, often going meal to meal. She brought it upon herself. You don't need to sympathize with people like her. Mr. Du spoke indifferently, clearly unaffected by whatever plight the fourth lady found herself in. Chapter 760. The Secret of Ginseng Soup _1/4 Miss is a typical internet critic, enjoying the money of Master Du on the one hand, while on the other hand, she curses him as the most evil capitalist, wanting to overthrow the Master Du, acting recklessly. Now that Master Du has cut off all her sources of income, she certainly deserves it. After thinking about it, Wang Ziki continued. So we just let fourth miss go like this? Master Du used to spoil fourth miss, or else he wouldn't have indulged her for such a long time. After a while, Master Du's voice echoed in the air. She wanted freedom, didn't she? Then he'll give her freedom. Wang Ziki was taken aback. Was Master Du completely giving up on fourth miss? Master Du continued. From now on, if she calls, you don't need to answer. All right. Wang Ziki nodded agreement. Today is the opening day of Beijing's 15th Fairskin Beauty Store. With great discounts and unlimited purchases of limited products today, as soon as the store opens, it is filled with people. The 5 employees simply couldn't keep up with the rush. Young put on her uniform and began working with the others. I want 10 sets of the Supreme Edition limited gift boxes. The Supreme Edition limited gift box costs 580 yuan each, but the rich people in Beijing can afford it. It was supremely difficult to get one of these limited edition gift boxes before, as this rare opportunity of unrestricted purchasing arose with the opening of the new store. Of course people wanted to buy more. Young smiled slightly. I'm sorry customer, but each person is limited to purchasing one Supreme Edition limited gift box. I thought it wasn't restricted today? The voice of the person sounded obviously unhappy. Young explained, no restriction means the total quantity is not restricted. As long as customers visit the store, everyone can purchase the limited products. On a normal day, these limited edition products are only limited to 60 sets per month. Many people came hoping to buy them but left with disappointment. Oh, is that so? Can I really buy 10 sets? Can't you make an exception for me, young lady? Young continued. I'm really sorry, these are the store's rules. I can't easily violate them. Your boss must be a fool then. Doesn't even know when to make money. Give me 1 set. All right, please wait a moment. Young took out a set of fair-skinned beauty and handed it to her. Limited sales in the mall is called hunger marketing. As the saying goes, rarity is the most precious thing. If fair-skinned beauty had always been available without limitation, its sales would definitely not be as good as they are now. And being a limited sale give people a high-end feeling. Zhang Xianjing is also a loyal fan of fair-skinned beauty. A year ago, her skin was very rough, and she needed foundation to cover up her flaws, but since she started using fair-skinned beauty, her rough skin problem has improved a lot. Even without makeup now, her skin is still glowing with hydration. Today is the grand opening of Fair-Skin Bowtie's new store, with unlimited supply of limited products. Of course Zhang Xianjing wouldn't miss it. Zhang Xianjing and her young friends came to the Fair-Skin Beauty store. This young friend was called Zhou Yi, Zhang Xianjing's college classmate. They also lived in the same dormitory and got along well. Wait a moment. Just as Zhang Xianjing was getting ready to go in, she spotted a familiar figure. What's wrong? Zhou Yi turned around questioningly. Zhang Xianjing carefully recognized the figure in the crowd. I think I see someone I know. Who? Zhou Yi asked. Zhang Xianjing continued. It's my new younger sister. Zhang Xianjing deliberately pronounced the 2 words younger sister with emphasis. To think that Yang would actually work at Fair-Skin Beauty. What was going on? Zhou Yi then added. Is it the younger sister who wants to compete with you for your family property? Yes. Zhang Xianjing nodded her head. Due to Zhang Xianjing's intentional vilification, Zhou Yi had a very bad impression of Yang. Isn't your family quite rich? Why would your grandmother let her work? This is so embarrassing. Country folks are just country folks. Even if they dress up in princess clothes, they don't look like princesses. Zhang Xianjing continued. She's doing it on purpose. What do you mean? Zhou Yi asked. Zhang Xianjing said. By doing this, she just wants to get my grandmother's attention. You think, if my grandmother sees her working here, she's bound to be heartbroken. As soon as my grandmother feels bad, she'll give her all the family property. By then, there would be no share for me and my mother. The Zheng family is not lacking food and drink for Yang, but Yang is pretending to be pitiful and working outside. It's clearly on purpose. Chapter 761. The Secret of Ginseng Soup _2. Their cunning is truly deep. Zhou Yi exclaimed in surprise, Oh my God! Your new sister has no shame at all. You and your mother have been taking care of your grandparents for such a long time. Even if you're not related by blood, your emotional bond is even stronger. How dare they sit idle and reap the benefits and try to steal from you? Zhang Xianjing sighed helplessly. Zhou Yi continued. Wait, I'll teach her a lesson for you. Forget it. Zhang Xianjing held onto Zhou Yi's arm, pleadingly saying, We would often run into each other. It wouldn't be good if things get too tense. Zhou Yi is someone who can't stand injustice, and Zhang Xianjing is her good friend. She can't stand Zhang Xianjing being bullied. It doesn't concern you if I am the one who teaches her a lesson. You just wait here. It's the long-haired girl, right? Zhang Xianjing nodded. Yi, don't make a big scene after all, she is still my sister. Zhou Yi, speechless, said. What are you still considering at this point, sisterly affection? Then Zhou Yi turned and walked towards the store. Watching her figure, an imperceptible smirk appeared at the corners of Zhang Xianjing's mouth. Zhou Yi is quite naive and easy to inflame, just like a firecracker, ready to explode at the slightest provocations. Perhaps she reads too many martial arts novels, aspiring to be a chivalrous woman who vanquishes evil. This time, Yang might be in trouble. The store is crowded with people lining up. Even if Zhou Yi wanted to make it difficult for Yang, she couldn't do it immediately. Zhou Yi stood in line, observing Yang. As she got closer to the front of the line, she suddenly realized that Zhang Xianjing's sister was incredibly beautiful. Her skin was as white as snow, lips red and teeth white. For all appearances and charm, even the dull uniform she wore couldn't hide her ethereal temperament. Every frown and smile was exceedingly eye-catching. She, a woman herself, found her eyes brightening and heart fluttering at the sight. Because the store was so crowded, people bumped into each other, causing a glass bottle on the shelf to fall. The glass bottle was about to hit a little girl. Just as Zhou Yi was about to intervene, she saw a figure move faster than she could. The figure gently held the little girl in one arm, and deftly caught the falling glass bottle in the other. Steady as a rock. Her posture was incredibly cool. Zhou Yi stood in stunned silence. A heroine. She was precisely the type of heroic woman she imagined in her mind. Are you okay, little girl? Yang put back the glass bottle and looked down at the little girl. I'm fine. The little girl shook her head and quickly ran to her mother saying, Mama. The mother, engrossed in her conversation, had missed the small incident entirely. Zhou Yi's gaze toward Yang gradually turned into admiration. Yang looked beautiful when she smiled and had adorable dimples, and she was incredibly agile. It was hard for anyone to dislike her. After a while, it was finally Zhou Yi's turn. Outside the door, the smugness in Zhang Xianjing's eyes became more apparent. At this point, Zhou Yi, who was earlier planning to give Zhang Xianjing a piece of her mind, had put that thought at the back of her mind. Excuse me, miss, I need a bottle of whitening cream and wrinkle cream. All right. Yang nodded lightly. Zhou Yi scratched her head and continued. Can I ask what your name is? She was really curious. Yang's tone was light. Yang, what a lovely name. Yang, have you ever practiced martial arts? Zhou Yi made a few gestures on the spot. You were so cool back there. Yang smiled and said, Thank you. I have practiced martial arts and Chinese kung fu for a few years. In her previous life, she had mastered kung fu and martial arts to protect herself, but was still schemed upon. In this life, her senses had become sensitized ever since she saved that high official in Dam Village. The combination of her heightened senses and martial arts made her movements more agile. Zhou Yi nodded. So that's how it is. Outside the door, the more Zhang Xianjing watched, the more something seemed wrong. Didn't Zhou Yi go in to give Yang a hard time? Why were they now having a pleasant conversation? What an idiot Zhou Yi was. What on earth was she doing? Zhang Xianjing's lips tightened. She was itching to rush in and slap Zhou Yi. Soon after, Zhou Yi walked back out, smiling broadly. Xianjing, you must have misunderstood something. I think your new sister is quite nice. She's beautiful, handles things smoothly, and even her voice is pleasant. If I were you, I would be overjoyed to have such a fantastic sister. Chapter 762. The Secret of Ginseng Soup _3. Upon hearing this, shock flooded Zhang Xianjing's face. What in the world had happened? Why did Zhou Yi suddenly side with Yang and speak up for her? Zhang Xianjing's complexion changed continuously. She sighed deeply, her face filled with bitterness. I knew this would be the outcome, she said dejectedly. What outcome? Zhou Yi asked. Zhang Xianjing responded with a bitter laugh. Just because she's pretty, everything she does is right. Well, I'm used to it. She was stepping back to move forward, shifting the hatred back onto Yang. No, Zhou Yi continued. I didn't side with your sister because she's beautiful. I genuinely think she's a good person, not a bad one. Zhang Xianjing, her head lowered and filled with a sense of grievance, responded. You've truly been fooled by her. She's like a venomous snake in human skin. If you're not careful, she can deliver a lethal blow. You haven't spent time with her, so I can understand why you've been misled. Really? Zhou Yi squinted her eyes. She couldn't help but feel that An Yang was not that kind of person. Zhang Xianjing continued. Look at you now, even doubting my words. Think about it. We've been classmates for so long. When have I ever lied to you? Whatever, I give up. Zhou Yi said. This is too convoluted. It's giving me a headache. Anyway, I really like your sister. You dislike yours, I like mine. Let's just keep it that way. Zhang Xianjing bit her lip hard, feeling intense resentment. Why? Why did An Yang get to snatch everything away from her? First, she took away her grandparents, and now she was even trying to take her best friend. At the Zhang family's home, the elderly Mr. and Mrs. Zhang hadn't had such fun in a long time. Even after coming back from the park, their faces still bore happy smiles. At that moment, the butler escorted Dr. Jiang inside. Madam, Dr. Jiang is here. Dr. Jiang inspected Mrs. Zhang's health every month and a half. Xiaoyan's here. Mrs. Zhang smiled at An Yang. Yang, come here. The last time there were too many people, and I forgot to introduce you to Grandma Jiang. An Yang responded and approached her. Grandma Jiang. Dr. Jiang nodded and said, This child is really beautiful, Aching, just like you when you were young. Right? I think so too. The corners of Mrs. Zhang's eyes brimmed with warmth. An Cuihua served a plate of fruits. Dr. Jiang, have some fruit. Mrs. Zhang said, Xiaoyan and I are lifelong best friends. Tingting, you should call her Aunt Jiang. All right. An Cuihua looked up at Dr. Jiang. Aunt Jiang. She hadn't really paid attention to Dr. Jiang during the last familial reunion, but finding a closer look at her today, she found her strangely familiar. Very familiar. It was as if she had seen her somewhere before. An Cuihua squinted her eyes, but simply couldn't remember where she had seen Dr. Jiang before. Dr. Jiang subtly shifted her gaze away from An Cuihua, placed her medical box on the tea table, and said to Mrs. Zhang, Aching, shall we start now? I heard from Lingling that you've been feeling much better recently. Mrs. Zhang nodded. Yes, I'm much better. Ever since she followed An Yang's advice, her cough had almost completely disappeared. Nowadays, the only reason she invited Dr. Jiang over was so that she wouldn't overthink. After all, Dr. Jiang was also her lifelong friend. Dr. Jiang put on her stethoscope, then examined Mrs. Zhang's tongue and eyes before saying, There's still some inflammation. I'll prescribe you some more medicine. All right. Mrs. Zhang nodded. Dr. Jiang took 2 small bottles of medicine out of her medical box and handed them to Mrs. Zhang. This capsule is to be taken once a day. The other one is to be applied externally, 1 patch on the belly button each day. Mrs. Zhang noted down the instructions carefully. As Dr. Jiang was about to leave, she bumped into Zhang Lingling, who was carrying a bowl of ginseng soup. Aunt Jiang's here. Lingling. Dr. Jiang walked over with a smile. No wonder I didn't see you inside. You were making ginseng soup for your mother. Lingling, you're such a filial child. Just then, bang. Dr. Jiang lost her footing, knocking over the bowl of ginseng soup in Zhang Lingling's hands. I'm sorry, Lingling. Did you get burnt? Dr. Jiang apologized immediately. My old age is affecting my vision. Sorry, Zhang Lingling frowned. It's fine, Aunt Jiang. It was just a couple of bowls of ginseng soup. Doesn't matter. Chapter 763. The Secret of Ginseng Soup _4. Dr. Jiang squatted down to pick up the shards. Your mother's health has almost fully recovered. Drinking things like ginseng soup has more harm than good. You don't need to make it for her anymore. What? Zhang Lingling looked at Dr. Jiang, thinking she must have misheard. Dr. Jiang continued. Although ginseng is a great tonic, it is also a medicine. As the saying goes, even medicines can be harmful. In short, just listen to me. Zhang Lingling nodded. All right, Aunt Jiang. Dr. Jiang patted Zhang Lingling's arm. I'll be leaving then. Zhang Lingling quickly put down the shard she was holding. I'll walk you out. Dr. Jiang looked at the mess on the floor. No need. You carry on with your chores. Zhang Lingling quickly asked the servants to mop up the spilled soup from the floor. An Yin was standing behind a large antique vase, observing the whole scene. The conversation between Zhang Lingling and Dr. Jiang seemed normal, but upon closer inspection, it was full of suspicions. Was she overthinking things? Or was there indeed something strange between those two? An Yin narrowed her eyes slightly and tiptoed towards the kitchen. The Zhang family's kitchen was huge, and it produced a large amount of daily waste. When she arrived, she happened to see the servant throwing the shards into the bin. After the servant left, An Yin stepped out from the corner, picked up a piece of shard and sniffed it. It did smell like ginseng soup. Was she really overthinking it? An Yin didn't linger and pulled a handkerchief from her pocket. She wrapped the shard in the handkerchief and left. Nobody would think that someone would take away a piece of a broken bowl. That evening, An Yin visited Mrs. Zhang's bedroom. "Who's there?" Mrs. Zhang asked from inside the room. "Grandma, it's me, Yang." An Yin responded. The next second, the door opened. The person opening the door was Mr. Zhang. Yang, come in quickly." Mrs. Zhang was sitting on the sofa with her reading glasses on, looking at something. Seeing An Yin's arrival, she immediately said, Yang, come over here." An Yin walked over with a smile, and then saw that Mrs. Zhang was holding a black and white photo of a very cute young baby. Mrs. Zhang laughed. Yang, does this baby look like Yunyan? This is your mother when she was little." "Really?" An Yin was somewhat amazed as she took the photo. "So this is my mother when she was young? She does look quite like Yunyan." Mrs. Zhang continued. "So the moment I first laid my eyes on little Yunyan, I knew she was somehow related to me. It's fate." After looking at the photo, An Yin said, "Grandma, I have something to ask you." "Go ahead." "Have you known Dr. Jiang for a long time?" An Yin asked. "Yes." Mrs. Zhang nodded. "If we were to calculate, I have known her for more than 30 years. 30 years wasn't a long time nor a short one." An Yin continued. "So is she our family's physician? Has she always been managing your health?" Mrs. Zhang further nodded. "I owe my health to her. Yang, Dr. Jiang has no children. She is quite pitiful. If we can help her in the future, we should." "Okay." An Yin continued. "Grandma, how did you meet Dr. Jiang?" "Hey, race, how it was." Mrs. Zhang began reminiscing about the past 30 years. Dr. Jiang is indeed a good person. Otherwise, she wouldn't have crossed the Pacific, overcoming countless obstacles, to bring Zhang Lingling to Mrs. Zhang's side. The world 30 years ago was not as it is now. One could only imagine how hard it would have been for Dr. Jiang, a woman, to travel alone with a child. No wonder Mrs. Zhang trusted Dr. Jiang. There was this reason behind their relationship. An Yin squinted her eyes and said, "Grandma, can I see the medicine prescribed to you by Dr. Jiang today?" "I will get it for you." Mr. Zhang rose from the sofa to fetch it. A moment later, Mr. Zhang handed 2 small white bottles to An Yin. An Yin carefully examined the 2 bottles of medicine and found them to be common anti-inflammatory drugs. Mrs. Zhang asked, Yang, have you found something?" An Yin continued, "Grandma, do you remember when you and Grandpa first visited Jinghua village? I told you that the toxins in your bodies might have been deliberately caused by someone." Chapter 764. The Secret of Ginseng Soup _5. "I remember." Mrs. Zhang nodded. "But you also said that these toxins could have possibly resulted from food incompatibility." Once she finished speaking, Mrs. Zhang exclaimed surprisingly, Yang, are you suspecting the doctor?" The doctor had absolutely no motive. Why would she poison anyone? An Yang replied, "One has to safeguard against the possibility of harm from people. Even though the doctor doesn't have a motive, there is one person who does. Since my return, hasn't someone been afraid that my mom would start fighting with her over the family property?" An Yang was direct about her thoughts. Although Zhang Lingling hid it very well, she couldn't escape from An Yang's eyes. If Zhang Lingling was a good mother, she wouldn't have raised Zhang Xianjing to be the way she was. Mrs. Zhang turned pale. Lingling, although she is somewhat greedy, she's not a bad person. Zhang Lingling was brought to her house at the tender age of 7. Mrs. Zhang took care for her with her own hands, and even though she wasn't her birth child, Mrs. Zheng saw no difference. Mrs. Zheng couldn't believe it. She refused to believe that the child she raised single-handedly could do such things. She is Lingling's mother. Can a daughter hurt her mother? I also know what Lingling worries about, which is why I already drafted my will. After I and your grandfather pass away, the Zheng family's property will be split equally between your mom and your aunt. They both know this. They are both my children, so I treat them all equally. Zheng Lingling doesn't need to harm her at all. And Yang continued. Grandma, please don't get agitated, I'm just making a guess. As for the real reason, she would find out the truth and everything would become clear. Grandfather Zheng remained silent, as if he was mulling over something. After understanding a few things from Mr. and Mrs. Zheng, Yang returned to her room. On her way back, she passed by Zheng Suyu's room. She heard a burst of noises coming from Zheng Suyu's room. Yang halted, knocking at the door. Auntie, are you okay? The noise in the room seemed to have lowered a bit. Auntie, can you open the door? This time, all noise from the room completely stopped. Yang furrowed her brows. Zheng Suyu wasn't thinking straight. It wouldn't be good if she did something that might hurt herself. Yang gathered her strength and directly twisted the doorknob, entering the room with purpose. Zheng Suyu's room was quite big. There was a small reception area up front, and then there was the main bedroom. Though Yang heard quite a commotion from outside, the room appeared to be in perfect order, completely different from what she had imagined. Auntie! Yang moved forward. Just then, Zheng Lingling walked out from inside. Yang, what brings you here? Your aunt is having an episode. Currently she doesn't recognize anyone. Leave quickly before she hurts you. Aunt Lingling. Yang was slightly taken aback. Let's go out quickly. Zheng Lingling grabbed hold of Yang's wrist. Yang silently shrugged off Zheng Lingling's hand and moved towards the bedroom. Zheng Lingling followed in Yang's footsteps. Yang, be careful. If you end up getting hurt by your aunt, don't blame me for not warning you. Just then, a figure suddenly rushed out from the bedroom. Oh, kill you. I want to kill you. Liars. You all are big liars. Yang deftly avoided, extending her hand to hold Zheng Suyu's hand. Auntie, calm down a bit. Kill you. Kill you. There was no chance of Zheng Suyu calming down. Left with no choice, Yang had to prick her needle at the Laogong acupoint once more. Only then Zheng Suyu quieted down. But even after she quieted down, Zheng Suyu was seemingly incapable of thinking. Her pair of eyes dulled and lifeless. There's an injury on her forehead. What happened? Yang asked. Zheng Lingling replied. When your aunt has an episode, she not only hits others but also hurts herself. It's not just her forehead, there are wounds at other places too. As she spoke, Zheng Lingling rolled up Zheng Suyu's sleeve, revealing that Zheng Suyu's arm was entirely covered in wounds. These were all done by your aunt herself. Just then, Zheng Suyu instantly retracted her hand and hugged Yang tightly, crying, Sister-in-law, it hurts. Suyu hurts so bad. There are ghosts. Ghosts want to harm Suyu. Yang was stunned. Did Zheng Suyu mistake her for Mrs. Zheng? Auntie, don't cry. Would you like me to treat your injuries? Chapter 765. The Secret of Ginseng Soup _6. Yang must have said something that triggered Zheng Suyu again. She pushed Yang away and shrieked with horror. Ah! Stop. I'm not sick. I won't take any medicine. I'm not sick, I'm not. Zheng Suyu stammered as she staggered backward until she ended up hiding under a table, looking all around in panic. Yang's brows furrowed slightly. Zheng Suyu's sickness wasn't congenital, it was acquired. What kind of trauma did she endure to become like this? When she says that there is a ghost haunting her, is she hinting that this ghost might be the person who orchestrated her misery? Yang squatted down, eye level with Zheng Suyu. Ma'am, how about you come out and talk? Don't worry, I won't harm you. Ghost. You're a ghost. Stay away. Stay away from me, retorted Zheng Suyu, shuffling back in fear, her eyes pulsing with terror, her expression excruciatingly painful. Zheng Lingling intervened. Yang, your aunt's condition is quite critical now. Let's just leave. We don't want to agitate her more. Feeling helpless, Yang had no choice but to leave for now. Once back in her room, Yang sat at her desk, drawing a relationship chart of the Zheng family members. Why did Zheng Siyu go mad? Where did the toxins in Mr. and Mrs. Zheng's bodies come from? What role does the doctor play in all this? After Enai Yang finished her chart, she realized that besides Zheng Lingling, both Zheng Sheng and Zheng Gao aspired for the Zheng family fortune, making things even more complex. Perhaps Zheng Siyu could be the breakthrough in this conundrum. It seemed that finding her master sooner was vital. Enai Yang looked out of the window to see the night deepening, with only a few stars scattered in the sky. She closed the curtain, turned around, and went to bed. After staying a few days at the Zheng family home, Enai Cuehua intended to bring Mr. and Mrs. Zheng to stay in Jinghua village for a few days. After spending so much time at the Zheng family home, she missed her small house in the village. Mrs. Zheng agreed, "That sounds great. The air in the countryside is fresh. Staying there for a few days might be nice." "Let's bring Aunt Suyu along," suggested Enai Cuehua. "Bring Aunt Suyu?" asked Zheng Lingling. "What if her sickness flares up while we're in the countryside? I should stay home and take care of her." Enai Cuehua laughed. "No worries, the countryside is spacious. A change in environment might even benefit Aunt Suyu's health." Before Zheng Lingling could say more, Mrs. Zheng interjected. "Ting Ting, well, proceed as per your idea. Let's bring Suyu along." It was endearing to see Enai Cuehua showing concern. Zheng Lingling narrowed her eyes and suggested, "Mom, then I'll accompany you." Mrs. Zheng disagreed. "Lingling, why don't you come next time? It would be inconvenient to leave the house unattended." The huge Zheng family home couldn't be left without a caretaker, could it? Although Sun Wu was around, in Mrs. Zheng's eyes, he was as irrelevant as a grain weevil. Hearing this, Zheng Lingling humphed to herself. This is what happens when one has their own children. They forget about the adopted child. They were going out to have fun. Why should she stay home alone? Was she a guard dog? What if Mrs. Zheng gave all the Zheng family property to Enai Cuehua behind her back? Damn old woman. "Then I will ask Xianjing to go with you," suggested Zheng Lingling. Mrs. Zheng asked, "Isn't Xianjing in school?" Zheng Lingling replied, "She is in college now, missing a few days of classes wouldn't matter." Mrs. Zheng disagreed, slightly frowning. "That doesn't sound right. A student should focus on their studies. How can she arbitrarily skip classes? She needs to set the proper example as a student." Upon hearing this, frustration welled up inside Zheng Lingling. No matter how you look at it, they just didn't want her to come along. Zheng Lingling continued, "Mom, you're right. A student should prioritize their studies. I didn't consider it thoroughly." Mrs. Zheng nodded. "Lingling, the fact you understand the importance of your studies is enough. Please take care of things while we're gone. We won't be long." When the villagers of Jinghua village found out that Enai Cuehua had found her long-lost parents and family, they were extremely happy. As soon as they arrived at the village outskirts, loud firecrackers could be heard, a jovial village celebration. Firing the crackers was a way to celebrate and express their joy. "Congrats, Yang Yang's mom." "Congrats. Congrats. I always wondered why Yang Yang's mom is so pretty. Turns out she's a lady of a grand family." Touched, Enai Cuehua replied, "Thanks everyone. Tonight, come by my place for dinner. Let's enjoy the evening together." It was too late to prepare for lunch, so she decided to invite everyone for dinner instead. Enai Cuehua started preparing for dinner. As she had been staying at the Zheng family residence for several days, her house had run out of provisions. She asked Shengguan Dehui to head to the city to buy some. "Dehui, remember to buy lots of meat. Also grab enough alcohol and cigarettes." Enai Cuehua told Shengguan Dehui. Shengguan Dehui nodded. "All right, I got it." Meanwhile, elsewhere, Wang Ziki, holding a stack of documents, knocked gently on Master Du's door. "Master Du, come in." A voice came from inside after a while. Wang Ziki opened the door to walk in, stopping in front of a beaded curtain. Master Du was behind the curtain. "Master Du, I found the person," declared Wang Ziki. The room fell silent for a moment. Afterward, a skeletal hand parted the beaded curtain. Master Du emerged. "Who is it?" Chapter 766. It's her _1. Master Du seemed to have just woken up, his face still beholden to a sense of drowsiness. He held a string of Buddha beads in his hand as he haughtily surveyed Wang Ziki. Wang Ziki continued, From my investigation, I found out the car that night belonged to the Zheng family, and the Miss Zheng from the Zheng family, Zheng Xianjing, was the one sitting inside the car. Look, this here is Zheng Xianjing's travel record for that day. Finishing his speech, Wang Ziki handed over the documents to Master Du. Master Du reached out and swiftly flipped through the records. According to the documents, Zheng Xianjing's travel time coincided with the time of the incident that night. And there's this. Wang Ziki passed one more photograph to Master Du. In the darkened background of the photo, a figure wearing a beige coat could be vaguely discerned. The figure's slipping hair hid their face. Master Du squinted. The scene set out in the photograph overlay with what he had seen that night. Even though Master Du had been severely injured at the time, his memory was clear. He clearly remembered that the person he had passed that fleeting instant wore a beige coat. Later, they hurriedly returned to the alley to see that figure get into a small passenger car. Because they had only had a fleeting look, the car sped off before he could respond. Where did this photograph come from? Master Du continued to question. This photograph was taken by a photo fanatic, Ziki explained. It had taken a lot of resources to obtain this photo. The term fanatic was a popular term of the 80s, used to express a kind of obsession toward something. Originally, the term had been introduced from Hong Kong Island. Do you have Zheng Xianjing's personal information? Master Du followed up. Yes. Wang Ziki nodded and handed over a document. Master Du reached out to receive it. Wang Ziki was an excellent subordinate. He delved deeply into Zheng Xianjing's personal data. No medical training? No martial arts training? Master Du flipped through a few pages of the documents and frowned slightly. That person from that night clearly possessed superb medical skills and formidable martial arts techniques. Otherwise, they wouldn't have managed to rescue them from such peril. But Zheng Xianjing was a typical upper-class lady. She had studied violin, piano, and dance, but no martial arts. Moreover, she studied finance at university, which had no relation to medicine whatsoever. Could she be the person from that night? Since she was the one who saved his life, Master Du couldn't draw a conclusion too hastily. Master Du, one should not judge a book by its cover. Perhaps Miss Zheng is one who keeps her abilities hidden? You've been in this circle, you should know the depths it holds. Who can truly know? Wang Ziki said. One can never be entirely sure of such things. Having seen his fair share of the world, Master Du naturally understood this principle. Arrange a meeting with her at your earliest convenience. I wish to meet her personally. After a long while, Master Du spoke. Understood. Wang Ziki nodded. Ni family. Today, the NIS courtyard was exceptionally lively. Almost all the villagers had come, and no one came empty-handed. Some brought eggs, others brought fruits from their trees. Lady Zheng, who had lived in a large manor for so long, was experiencing such humble and genuine camaraderie for the first time. This was indicative of the popularity of the Ni family in Jinghua village. The dinner was prepared by Ni Tsuehua and Ni Yang. The main course was beef stew noodles. Each table was served with 8 dishes, 5 meats and 3 vegetables. The beef slices were especially thick and large. Biting into a piece was a mouthful of meat. Along with the flavorful broth-soaked noodles, the food was delicious to the point of evoking sighs of delight. During dinner, people kept toasting to Lady Zheng and Old Master Zheng. Old Master, Old Lady, our toast to you. Old Master Zheng and Lady Zheng didn't display any air of disdain as they rose from their seats. Thank you. Thank you everyone for caring for our Ting Ting for so long. We're not looking after Yang Yang's mom. It's clearly Yang Yang, and her mother taking care of us. Old Master, Old Lady, you're truly blessed. You have such a good daughter, and your daughter has such an outstanding daughter. Ni Yang had done too much for Jinghua village. Everyone was deeply appreciative of her. Had it not been for Ni Yang, Jinghua village would still be on the same level as the other villages. Jinghua village's conditions were obviously much better than other villages, far more than a few times over. While the other villages had an annual income not exceeding 100, the average income of the people in Jinghua village had surpassed 500. Chapter 767. It's her _2. The wide and long cement road alone was enough to make people in other villages envious. After dinner, Each family would leave one person to help Inaitsuehua clean the kitchen and wash the dishes. With many hands at work, it didn't take long for the small kitchen to be tidied up neatly. Mrs. Zheng sighed. The atmosphere of this village is really great. Mr. Zheng nodded. Yes. It feels like we've gone back many years. After spending many years in elite circles, the emotional warmth had faded somewhat. The next day, Inayang planned to visit her master and his wife. She bought a lot of nutritional supplements and set off on her bike. The couple lived on the other side of Beijing, more than 60 kilometers away from Jinghua village. Riding a bike was not enough, so Inayang cycled to the city, then took a taxi. Standing in front of the familiar courtyard gate, Inayang was filled with mixed feelings. At this point in her previous life, her senior brother had already been killed, so 2 white lanterns hung in front of the small courtyard, making it look desolate and lonely. In this life, her senior brother was still alive and well, and the red lantern was still the same as before. It was a relief. Inayang knocked on the door of the courtyard. After a period, the door was opened by a kind-looking old lady in her 60s or 70s. Hello, who are you looking for? This was Wang Zhoushi, her master's wife from her previous life. Coming from a feudal society, the master's wife had no name of her own. After marrying her master, she adopted his surname and combined it with her own to be called Wang Zhoushi. Upon seeing her benefactors from her previous life again, Inayang's eyes welled up with tears. Mas. She nearly said master, but quickly swallowed it back and asked, Hello, is this Dr. Wang's home? Wang Zhoushi nodded. Yes, come in, young lady. For some unknown reason, even though it was her first time meeting this young lady, Wang Zhoushi felt a very friendly sense of familiarity, as if they had known each other for a long time. The small courtyard was as familiar as ever. Wang Zhoushi led Inayang into the living room. Sit here for a moment, young lady. I'll go call someone for you. The master had no hobbies other than cockfighting and drinking. He was probably competing with his old buddies next door right now. After her senior brother's death in the previous life, the master suddenly aged overnight. He stopped cockfighting and drinking. That would be great, thank you. It's not a problem at all. It's the least I could do. You can wait here. Wang Zhoushi walked out. Inayang sat in the chair, quietly observing everything in the living room. The living room's furnishings were very simple and clean. Although the master was a divine doctor, his lifestyle was quite modest. Because he never overcharged, and even paid out of his pocket when treating impoverished families. Soon after, Wang Zhoushi clutched a vibrant, glossy feathered rooster, and returned with Master Wang. Old Master Wang held the rooster in his arms, grumbling. It's all your fault. Without your interruption, my undefeated general would have won. Wang Zhoushi replied, lost for words. And what if he did win? Can we eat him? Can we spend him? I truly can't understand what's so amusing about this game with roosters. You're no longer young and it's a bit shameful to act like this. Master Wang turned his head away in disdain. A woman's opinion. I can't be bothered to talk to you. I can't be bothered to talk to you either. Even as they bickered, they made their way into the living room. Seeing the couple return, Inayang immediately stood up from her chair. Dr. Wang. Master Wang was stunned. He didn't recognize this young lady. Traditional Chinese medicine pays attention to observation, listening, questioning, and pulse-taking, and just one glance told him that this young lady did not come to seek treatment. If she was not here for treatment, what was she here for? Inayang read Master Wang's confusion and continued, Dr. Wang, my name is Inayang, and the both of you can call me Yang Yang. I came here today to express my gratitude. Inayang placed a pile of nutritional supplements on the table. Dr. Wang became even more confused. Young lady, are you sure you haven't mistaken me for someone else? Inayang was so beautiful that if he really had seen her before, he would have remembered her. It was impossible for him not to have any impression at all. Inayang had prepared a line of argument in advance. Dr. Wang, do you remember saving a little girl from drowning 15 years ago? If it weren't for you, I wouldn't even exist now. Throughout his life, Dr. Wang had saved countless people. He vaguely remembered such an incident, but he had forgotten the specifics. Chapter 768. It's her _3. This child was one who understood gratitude. So many years had passed, yet she still remembered it in her heart. Dr. Wang smiled and said, "As a doctor, I am merely doing my duty to heal the sick and injured. There's no need for such courtesy, young lady." And Yang continued, "Ever since the incident 15 years ago, I've aspired to be just like you, Dr. Wang, a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner who heals the sick and injured. Over the years, I've read quite a few medical books. Dr. Wang, I wish to take you as my master." And Yang's sincerity was palpable. The medical skills she possessed were all taught by Dr. Wang. Therefore, it was only right for her to ask to formally become his apprentice. Old Dr. Wang stroked his beard. "If you wish to become my apprentice, you must have some real skills. You said you've read medical books, right? The young lady is so beautiful, becoming an apprentice might just be a passing whim." Old Wang didn't take Yang's request to heart. "Yes." And Yang nodded. "Follow me." Old Wang gestured and walked outside. And Yang followed his steps. Old Wang took Yang to the courtyard. The courtyard was filled with an abundance of drying herbs, the air wafted with a subtle medicinal scent. Old Wang pointed at these herbs and said, "If you can correctly identify all these herbs today, I'll take you as my apprentice." Wang Zhousher tugged at Dr. Wang's sleeve. "Old man, aren't you deliberately making things difficult for the young lady? There are so many herbs, even I can't recognize them all. How could she possibly do so?" Old Wang continued, "If she can't identify them, it means that we don't share a master-apprentice destiny." Wang Zhousher, speechless, retorted, "What master-apprentice destiny you speak of? The young lady is so pretty. Just her willingness to accept you as a master should make you gleeful. Yet, here you are still flaunting your masterly arrogance." A woman's perspective. While the two were speaking, Yang approached the drying racks and began to identify the herbs. "This is chunbujian, purple velvet grass, stemless vine, crow leaf. These herbs have detoxifying properties. This is green ginseng, 5-flavor skin, chickspear vine, maple bark, old stork grass. These herbs can eliminate rheumatism and strengthen muscles." Dr. Wang's expression gradually shifted to surprise. He didn't expect Yang to successfully identify all the herbs. In addition, she not only recognized them all, but also understood the properties of the herbs. She was clearly a genius. Wang Zhousher was also taken aback. She's spent many years assisting Dr. Wang, and despite routinely drying these herbs herself, she couldn't identify all of them like Yang did. Doctors value talent, and Old Wang was no exception. He walked over to Yang. "Good, very good. Today, Wang Erge officially accepts you as his apprentice." Throughout his life he had taken several apprentices, but none of them turned out promising. They couldn't even memorize the names of the herbs, leading them to eventually give up. Yang immediately knelt and kowtowed in respect. "Master and mistress, please accept my salutation." "Good child, stand up." The elderly pair walked over and helped Yang to her feet. "Thank you, master and mistress." Yang addressed them naturally, delighting the elderly couple. Soon after, Old Wang took Yang to pay respects to the ancestral master. Old Wang's medical skills were passed down from the lineage of Bien Quebec. Hanging on the wall was a portrait of Bien K, below which hung the portrait of a more recent ancestral master. Old Wang handed 3 sticks of incense to Yang. "From today onwards, you are the 108th direct disciple of my Xian medical lineage. In the future, you must uphold the medical ethics, maintain integrity in practicing medicine, live in peace, sleep in peace, bearing no guilt. I will heed your teachings." Yang bowed and placed the incense into the incense burner. Yang was very clever. Many things only had to be explained once by Old Wang, and she would understand. Old Wang was overjoyed. After so many years, he had finally found a disciple with exceptional aptitude. Old Wang was eager to parade Yang around, to let everyone know how gifted his new disciple was. Old Wang stroked his beard, triumphantly saying, "Let's see how Lin Yuan mocks me now." Lin Yuan was Old Wang's senior fellow apprentice, and another divine doctor. His medical skills were on par with Old Wang. The only difference was Lin Yuan had an extraordinarily talented apprentice, and always boasted about his apprentice to Old Wang. Furthermore, he mocked old Wang for having no one to inherit his medical skills. Wang Zhoushi laughed. Look how smug you are. Old Wang took a sip of wine, crossed his legs and stated, I do have something to be smug about. Chapter 769 It's her _4. Wang Zhoushi shakes his head helplessly, dealing with a person of such an age who still acts like a child every day. For 3 consecutive days, Anai Yang spends the afternoon with old Mr. Wang. Wang Ziki seldom stays at home, and the old couple, Mr. Wang and Wang Zhoushi, find their home life quite dull. But with the arrival of Anai Yang, smiles have returned to the faces of the elderly couple. Despite Anai Yang's sound medical skills from her previous life, in her current life, she discovers lots of new information when she revisits her studies. Anai Yang is flipping through a medical book when she looks up at Mr. Wang and asks, Master, is there any way to cure mental illnesses? Old Mr. Wang puts down his wine glass and replies, there is one method in fact. It was developed by our ancestral master, Bien Quebec. Really? Anai Yang shows interest and puts down her medical book. Old Mr. Wang continues, but this method is very dangerous. As the ancients said, improper use by a doctor could be life-threatening. Is it that serious? Anai Yang frowned slightly. Then master, do you know how to do it? Of course I do. I'm your master. How could I not know? Old Mr. Wang strokes his beard before continuing. This method is called the Ghost Gate 13 Needles. According to the Emergency 1000 Gold Essential Recipes, Volume 14, Chapter 5 on Wind Epilepsy, it is mentioned, Bien Ke said. The needle has 13 holes to treat the illnesses caused by 100 evils. When administering the needles, start with the Ghost Palace, then the Ghost Letter, the Ghost Rampart, and the Ghost Heart. It is not necessary to conduct all 13 needles, just 5 or 6 points could be enlightening. The Ghost Gate 13 Needles is a distinctive therapeutic method from the profound knowledge of acupuncture, and is the most miraculous aspect of Chinese acupuncture. In ancient times, it was a secret technique not taught outside the family of mystical medicine practitioners. It specifically treats various mental disorders, which in modern medical terms include depression, obsessive-compulsive disorder, schizophrenia, and other mental illnesses. This method gathers the essence of various acupuncture methods, utilizes different acupuncture points mechanism, and obtains unique curative effects upon reaching the disease. It holds an important place in the history of world medicine. To this day, medical researchers take the Ghost Gate 13 Needles as one of the important research topics. Old Mr. Wang casually picks up a medical book and hands it to Anai Yang. You take this book and have a look. Anai Yang takes the medical book. The book is Chinese medicine, acupuncture, which contains detailed information about the Ghost Gate 13 Needles. As the name suggests, the Ghost Gate 13 Needles consist of 13 needles, which are administered over the course of 13 days. Also, the requirements for the practitioner are very high. Any slight negligence may result in a backlash. Anai Yang asks, Master, have you ever applied the Ghost Gate 13 Needles? No, old Mr. Wang continues. The Ghost Gate 13 Needles was a forbidden needle in ancient times. It involves karma. People without considerable merit and virtue cannot use it lightly, else it could result in a reduced lifespan and a discontinuation of their offspring. Usually, doctors would not use this kind of forbidden needle carelessly. Without saying any more words, old Mr. Wang adds, the Ghost Gate 13 Needles are highly unorthodox. I've been practicing medicine for many years, and I haven't seen any of my colleagues daring to use it. Not even your senior brother dare to touch it. Anai Yang, don't you act recklessly. It is not easy for me to come across a talented disciple like you. Anai Yang slightly nods. I understand, Master. Can I take this book home to study it further? You may. Upon returning home, Anai Yang begins to focus on studying the Ghost Gate 13 Needles. She wants to cure Zheng Suyu. She is determined to cure Zheng Suyu. Her sixth sense tells her that Zheng Suyu must know something. Cafe. Zheng Xianjing sits at a window seat, her gaze constantly shifting outside, as if waiting for someone. After a while, a tall man with bronze skin walks in and asks, Hello, are you Miss Zheng? Zheng Xianjing is startled. Who are you? She planned to meet with a classmate. She doesn't recognize the man standing in front of her. At this point, Zhang Xianjing realizes that the usually crowded cafe is only occupied by herself and this man today. The atmosphere is eerily quiet. Who is this man? What does he want to do? My name is Wang Ziki and I am Master Du's assistant, the man says while placing a photo on the coffee table. Miss Zhang, is this you? Master Du? The Master Du from the world-famous Bund in Shanghai? Seemingly except for this Master Du, no one else would dare to call themselves as Master Du. No wonder he was able to book the entire cafe. Zhang Xianjing is thrilled, her heart pounding with excitement. Why would Master Du pay attention to her? And why did he get a photograph of her? Could it be he took a liking to her? Zhang Xianjing keeps her rising thrill in check and nods. Yes, this is me. Chapter 770. It's her _5. Wang Ziki continued. Miss Zheng, did you happen to be near Dellen Road one night, 3 months ago? A normal person would definitely not remember something from that long ago. But Zhang Xianjing remember it very clearly. That night, she discovered that Mo Baichuan was with Zhao Jingrong, and was severely humiliated by Jingrong. Zhang Xianjing knew that something was definitely off. She narrowed her eyes and proceeded to say, this photo was taken near an alleyway off Dellen Road. I was indeed wearing this beige coat that night. By the way, why were you taking pictures of me? Zhang Xianjing picked up the photo, a look of alertness on her face. Wang Ziki sat directly opposite Zhang Xianjing. It seems Miss Zheng remembers what happened that night. What are you trying to say? Zhang Xianjing narrowed her eyes. Did something happen that night? Wang Ziki continued. Miss Zheng, you are our savior. I assure you, I won't harm you. A savior? Zhang Xianjing was stupefied, her mind racing. Then it dawned on her, Wang Ziki must have mistaken her for someone else. So, what should she do now? Should she go with the flow or deny it straight away? His name was a prominent one in Shanghai's high society. If she denied it, she would lose a good opportunity to come closer to him. Moreover, a savior. If she became his savior, wouldn't she have all Shanghai at her disposal? If Shanghai was hers, she wouldn't need to worry about her old relatives not giving her the Zheng family's wealth. Even the Zheng family would be proud of her. Finally, she could show them. This was a great opportunity. Of course, Zhang Xianjing could not let it pass. Wang Ziki added, Miss Zheng, do you have any wishes to fulfill? You are his savior now. He would do anything to help you. Zhang Xianjing carefully considered her words, then replied, my initial intention to save someone was not to gain anything. Mr. Wang Ziki, don't you think your actions are very disrespectful? The implication of her words was, had she wanted something in return, she wouldn't have left after saving them. At this point, Zhang Xianjing successfully aligned herself with the role of a savior. Her words had a touch of pride to them. I apologize, that was my mistake, Wang Ziki continued. But one should repay life-saving kindness. Miss Zheng, please give us the opportunity to express our gratitude. As he finished, Wang Ziki took out a box filled with diamonds and jewelry and placed it in front of Zhang Xianjing. Miss Zheng, this is a small token of our gratitude, please accept. Having grown up in an affluent family, Zhang Xianjing immediately recognized the jewelry, which came from Wei country. It was once worn by a princess of Wei country in the last century. As expected of him, he was indeed generous. Even though Zhang Xianjing was tempted to take the necklace of considerable value, she decided not to. As the saying goes, favors are easily forgotten. What if after taking the necklace, consider her as someone who is fond of vanity, and ignore her? So she has to bide her time to catch a bigger fish. She needs to make him remember her favor for a lifetime. Zhang Xianjing picked up her bag, stood up sharply from the chair and coolly said, no need. She was not one to love vanity. Therefore, she wouldn't accept his gift. Miss Zheng. Wang Ziki followed Zhang Xianjing's steps. In a corner where Wang Ziki couldn't see, a triumphant smile played across Zhang Xianjing's lips. She had never dreamed that one day she would end up being his savior. Wang Ziki signaled a waiter who quietly stuck out a leg. Zhang Xianjing lost her balance and nearly fell. Fortunately, she grabbed the doorframe to steady herself. Wang Ziki rushed forward to help her. Miss Zheng, are you all right? I'm fine. Zhang Xianjing shook her head. Wang Ziki continued. You want to go home? Let me drive you. No need, Zhang Xianjing straightforwardly rejected. We have a chauffeur at home. Also, please don't come to see me anymore. Your actions are very troubling. Even if it weren't you and him that night, I would have saved anyone else in your situation. I never intended to gain anything from it. Chapter 771. It's her _6. Upon finishing what she had to say, Zhang Xianjing turned around and left. Wang Ziki watched as Zhang Xianjing got into a black sedan before turning and heading into the cafe. As soon as he stepped in, he saw a man clad in a plain long robe, Du Yi, walk out. It's not her. What do you mean it's not her? Wang Ziki was taken aback. Her voice is different, her height is different, and her nimbleness is different too, Du Yi continued. Having interacted with the woman at close quarters that night, Du Yi had failed to get a good look at her face, but he remembered her voice distinctly. Moreover, he recalled that when they brushed past each other, her height was level with his ears. But Zhang Xianjing was considerably shorter than Wang Ziki. Moreover, Du Yi noted that the kick sent towards Zhang Xianjing had been intentionally arranged to gauge her agility. If Zhang Xianjing were indeed remarkably agile, she would not have fallen easily. Miss Zhang didn't fall earlier, Wang Ziki said. That's because she held on to the door, Du Yi noted. Wang Ziki fell silent. After a moment's thought he said, but she admitted that she was the one there that night. Wang Ziki was a little naive. As he himself didn't lie, he unconsciously assumed that no one else in the world did either. Running his fingers over the Buddha beads, Du Yi said, who wouldn't want to attract wealth to the degree that she does? He had encountered countless women like Zhang Xianjing who tried to evade capture by instigating their pursuers to catch them. He was now used to their antics. Incidentally, he came today hoping to make some progress, but left feeling disappointed. Could it be that Miss Zhang wasn't the one we encountered that night? Wang Ziki asked. But the car was from the Zhang family. And who else could it be if not her? Don't the Zhangs have anyone apart from Zhang Xianjing? Du Yi retorted. The Zhang family includes old Mr. Zhang and Mrs. Zhang, who are too old to be the person we're looking for. Also, there are Zhang Lingling and her husband Sun Wu, who were adopted by the Zhangs. However, after our investigation, it seems that Zhang Lingling didn't go out that evening and Sun Wu, a grown man, is certainly not the one. The only possible person is Zhang Xianjing. Moreover, her picture was taken by a fan, so there's nothing left to doubt, Du Yi. It was definitely Zhang Xianjing who saved us. What if this is all a coincidence? Du Yi asked in return. Wang Ziki scratched his head. Are there really so many coincidences in this world? There's no such thing as the perfect story without coincidences, Du Yi mused, running his fingers over the Buddha beads. Identifying his savior was important. Du Yi did not want to mistake her identity mistakenly. This would not only be disrespectful towards the person who saved him, but also irresponsible towards himself. Wang Ziki suddenly seemed to remember something. Right, Du Yi, the Zhangs have recently found their biological daughter, Zhang Tingting. She has a daughter herself who is about the same age as Zhang Xianjing. But the thing is, Zhang Tingting was only recently reunited with the Zhangs, so the timeline doesn't add up. With narrowed eyes, Du Yi fell silent. Finding himself at a loss, he wondered if he might have been mistaken from the start. Perhaps, the person had seen when returning was not the one who'd come to his aid. Reflecting on this, Du Yi asked, that night, when you were supposed to take me to the hospital and had to go back and forth on the way, how much time had passed before you got back to the mouth of the alley? About. Wang Ziki thought for a moment. 20 minutes or so. 20 minutes. A lot could happen in 20 minutes. No normal person would linger around a dangerous alley for 20 minutes. Moreover, when Du Yi had come out, he thought he'd seen a bicycle parked in the corner of the alley. But when he came back, the bicycle was missing. Ziki, when you were helping me out, did you see a bicycle on the side? Du Yi pressed on. I don't think so. With Du Yi seriously ill, Wang Ziki had been so anxious that he didn't have the time or disposition to notice anything else. I saw one, Du Yi remarked, eyes narrowed. It was a Phoenix brand bicycle. Wang Ziki said. Du Yi, are you sure you weren't hallucinating? You were severely injured and almost unconscious at the time. How could you possibly observe things so closely? I still think the person was Miss Zhang Xianjing. Had it really just been his hallucination? As he leaned back in his chair, Yi tapped his fingers on the table. Then he took something out of his pocket and handed it to Wang Ziki. Here, give this to Zhang Xianjing. It was a red velvet box that held an exquisite crystal hair clip. Under the light, it glimmered dazzlingly. What a coincidence it was. When he brushed past her, the hair clip she had on fell into his hand. Due to the urgency of the situation, he hadn't had the chance to return it to her then. All right. Wang Ziki took the velvet box and nodded. Chapter 772. Why's Uncle Do Ignorance? _1 After saying this, Wang Ziki asked again. What if Zhang Xianjing doesn't accept? Zhang Xianjing doesn't seem like a greedy person, otherwise, she would not have rejected that extremely expensive necklace. Master Du was unflustered, leisurely twirling his Buddha beads. If she doesn't accept, let her see what's inside the box. Even though Wang Ziki didn't understand what Master Du meant, he still nodded. After thinking for a moment, Wang Ziki asked, what if even after seeing what's inside the box, she still doesn't accept? Master Du glanced at Wang Ziki, then bring it back. All right. Wang Ziki headed out of the room with the small velvet box. As soon as Zhang Xianjing returned, she immediately informed Zhang Lingling about the situation. Zhang Lingling was surprised and stated, Xianjing, are you serious? This man is Master Du. Master Du is an influential figure in Shanghai. The Du family is from Shanghai and they are legendary. If Zhang Xianjing can win Master Du over, her future will be bright. Then, the Zhang family will become the most prominent among all the wealthy families in Beijing. Yes, it's true. Zhang Xianjing nodded. Master Du's assistant personally came to see me. He even gave me a necklace that was worn by a queen from Y country last century. Did you accept it? Zhang Lingling asked anxiously. I didn't, said Zhang Xianjing, shaking her head. Zhang Lingling managed to keep her emotions in control and said, then it's good that you didn't. A man like Master Du has seen all kinds of women. If you accepted something from him today, it would mean that you would owe each other nothing. Who is Master Du? Isn't he surrounded by different types of women? What Zhang Xianjing needs to do is to differentiate herself from others. Only by being different can she catch Master Du's eye. A necklace from the last century is nothing. The most important thing is to gain Master Du's favor. Zhang Lingling truly knows men well. Zhang Xianjing then told Zhang Lingling about how she had refused Master Du's offer. Hearing this, Zhang Lingling repeatedly nodded in agreement. Well done. Xianjing, you did an excellent job. Continue in this manner. Only then will you be able to catch Master Du's attention. With Zhang Lingling's reassurance, Zhang Xianjing felt more confident about her actions. She was beautiful and talented. As long as she used a few tricks, she was sure that Master Du would be charmed by her. With sparkling eyes, Zhang Xianjing seemed to envision the envious looks she would get from people in the future. After saying this, Zhang Lingling continued, by the way, your grandparents are coming back today. Remember to behave when they arrive, understand? Zhang Xianjing nodded impatiently. Zhang Lingling patted Zhang Xianjing on the shoulder. Bear with it for now. Once you have won over Master Du, they will have to fawn over you whether they like it or not. Okay. In the afternoon, as expected, the old Master Zhang and his wife returned, accompanied by Zhang Suyu, Anai Tsuehua, and Shangguan de Hui. The happy group made Zhang Xianjing and Zhang Lingling feel a little out of place. A hint of displeasure flashed through Zhang Lingling's eyes, but she still walked forward with a smile. Mom, Dad, you're finally back. While you were away, Xianjing kept talking about you. We are back, the old Mrs. Zhang nodded. Xianjing, didn't you have classes today? Zhang Xianjing shook her head. I had no class in the afternoon, and knowing that you and Granddad were returning, as soon as my morning classes ended, I came back. The old Mrs. Zhang held Zhang Xianjing's hand. Good girl, it's a rarity for you to think of us. The old Mrs. Zhang had watched Zhang Xianjing grow from a baby into this graceful young woman. She truly loved this granddaughter of hers. Zhang Xianjing wore a smile on her face, but she had a cold smirk in her heart. That old hag. On the face of it, she treated Zhang Xianjing as a favored granddaughter, but behind her back, she planned to divide the Zhang family's wealth among others, which was detestable. Not long after, the Zheng family had more visitors. Zheng Sheng and Zheng Gao arrived, each bringing their family members with them. The old Mr. and Mrs. Zheng had been absent from home for several days. So naturally, they wanted to make a good impression now that they were back. Even a minor share of the Zheng family's wealth would be enough for them. Zheng Yingyue and Zheng Yingmei were calling everybody aunt and cousin. They couldn't have been more affectionate if they tried. In the past, when they visited the Zheng family, they would try to win Zheng Xianjing over. But now that nobody wanted Zheng Xianjing, they changed their tactics to win over the old Mrs. Zheng, Ni Cuehua, and little Ni Yun. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.